before starting, I would like a few minutes of your time. So people are still joining, so that's why we are taking some more time. So we will wait for a couple of minutes, then we will start. Thank you. Yeah, good morning, all. I would like to welcome you all behalf of Pioneer Business Solution. This is Sugandhi, and I am the organizer for the event. I would like to introduce my team with me here, and we have a presenter Jitendra also with us. So I'll give you more information about Jitendra as well. So before diving to the webinar, I would like to wish you all happy new year. And we are this is the first workshop which we are conducting in this year. So I would like to wish you all happy new year. And I'm very excited to start this workshop. So before dive into the workshop, I would like to give you a small introduction about us. Uh, I'm sorry. uh, we are the end-to-end learning partners, and we support all the technologies like technical and functional. And we also trained more than 10,000 participants for across uh, various cutting-edge technology. And uh, we are present in all the physical and virtual labs. And this is our IT competency, and we have an exclusive exclusively worked on all these technologies like data science, mobile web technologies, cloud computing, cybersecurity testing, programming language, and AI, ML, BP, RPA, and big data, database, full stack, networking, automation. We have exclusively trainer with us, and we have an exclusive expertise trainer who worked on this, and we have a very success story on this technologies even. And we have a soft skill training competency. We have a business skills first time manager and personal improvement leadership programs and executive coaching, emotional intelligence, time management, stress management, change management, and problem solving and design thinking. And even we are taken a few of assignment on design thinking and stress management and all. So it is the for a full yearly we have how to think out of the box and how to think in a different way to solve the problem. So this is something very unique, and we are a very expertised trainer with us who can deliver on all these topics. So and we are well known in the market for the niche and different technologies where we will work towards the client expectation, and we'll understand their criterias, and we'll give the solutions accordingly. So we are well known in the market in this technology, and we have a different modes and offerings also. And this is our mode, so where we can support on ILT, VILT, and we have ILT, VLT with e-learning and cloud lab. So this is called hybrid learning, and we have e-learning solution, e-learning as well. So this e-learning cannot, it's not a normal one. It can be customized as well as per the expectation, and we have a mentor on demand and open house session. So this all we are very unique in the market on all this. Modes. So I can say open house session we can conduct minimum 2 to 3 participants also, and this cannot be considered as a batch. So this will be considered as per participants charges. So it will be a very cost effective and customized also. So we have a mentor on demand as well, and this is something after e-learning or after instruct like virtual instructor lead training, you will be having some cloud doubt. So where we can clarify, and we have a expertise consultant who can clarify the doubt. So it will be a very different mode, I can say. So these all are delivery modes, and this is all our clients which we are working from day one, day to day. And we have a very successful story with all these clients, so different story I can say. So we don't have that great time now to discuss. So I'll share you all this PPT with you guys. You can reach us anytime for further discussion. We are very happy to assist you on that. And this is our presenter, Jitendra Singh Tomar. He is a very uh, he's a certified Microsoft certified trainer, and he have a decade of experience in technical industry, and including 6 years of experience in training industry. And he have more than 4+ years of experience in production environment, and he is very much different in way of teaching. You people will love the experience of the way he teach. So he will be very close with you people, and he can guide you and assist you on all these things. I hope you will be having very wonderful webinar workshop today. Hope you will get more knowledge on this AZ1 900. So I'm very happy to welcome once again to all for joining, and I'm happy to invite Mr. Jitendra Singh Tomar, and over to you, Jitu. Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Sugandhi. Hello, everyone. Good morning and Happy New Year. So, Sugandhi has already given my introduction, so I don't think then that I have to uh, again disturb you guys with that. So, this is the webinar on the Microsoft Azure Fundamental. Okay. So before we jump into anything, let me just give a quick clarity that what exactly we will be doing over here today and what is gonna be the advantage. That is the most important thing. Okay. We have attended so many webinars, we have attended so many workshops, but actually is it playing an important role for us? That is the major question. how this is going to be beneficial for you in future. You guys are going to invest, I'm assuming you guys are going to invest nearly 9 hours or 8 hours over here. Is it going to be fruitful to you? Is it going to be very helpful to you in future? So all those things we'll be discussing here today. Okay, so let's begin with a small presentation. So I have prepared a small slide. I'm not actually a PPT guy. I like to work more on each and everything, but to work with anything, we need to know the basics. Then only we will be having a good practical environment or practical session. Okay. So if you guys have any queries, if you are not understanding anything, the chats are open. Immediately drop a question. I will try to answer majority of them. Whatever is left out, I'm not gonna leave that. Don't worry. Whatever is gonna left out, I will be writing the answers in the end. Okay. And the presentation which I'm showing here, plus a set of questions will be given to you so that you can practice later on. Someone wrote, I have a question. Please write down your question in the chat window, guys. Directly you can write it, not a problem. Okay, so I will be answering all the questions either directly in the session or I will be writing them later on so that everyone can have the proper answer or proper solution to that particular question. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask anything, even if you think it's a simple question, it's a basic question, straight away ask it. Okay, sometimes people think that, okay, what he will say or what she will say, don't worry about all those things. Just shoot the question. Simple. So here, after after completing this 9 hour session, what certificate? Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question, actually. Let me ask, because see, we are not providing any certificates as of now. Okay, but it will be a workshop, a complete practical workshop. So later on, you guys can try for official Microsoft exam. Okay, I'm hopefully I'm assuming that you will be able to clear it because whatever is there in the actual exam, I am gonna cover each and everything here in detail, but I cannot guarantee because practical is the key thing. If you don't practice, don't blame G2 in the end. Simple. I'm very upfront in these things. You practice. If you have any concerns later on in the end, I will be dropping my email ID to you guys. You just ask the questions directly on those email IDs. You can ask that and I will give you a proper solution for it. And then later on, yes, you can go for official, not our exam, official Microsoft exam, because easy fundamental, if Azure fundamental, these questions are very simple but little bit tricky. If you know the concept, you will be able to answer it. Okay, so you can later on try for the global certification as well. Okay, next question is, hope it is being recorded. So yes, it is getting recorded, and in the end means maybe today late evening or tomorrow, by tomorrow EOD, you will be receiving the video link. You will be receiving the question book, which will be having multiple questions in it, and you will be receiving the presentations which we are showing over here. Practice purpose, any student pass? This is a very good question. Whoever asked it, it's a very good question. Now, if you want to perform practicals in Azure, you should be having a subscription. Now, if you want a subscription, you should be having a credit card. Okay. But I know you, some of you are freshers, might be some of you are already having credit cards. But after the end of the session, in the end, my team is actually evaluating how many people are actually available throughout the entire webinar, throughout the workshop. And for these people only, not everyone, because I have seen so many people joined and then left later on. So I'm not going to consider them. Whoever stays till the end will be receiving the Microsoft voucher for free so that you can create your account and then perform the practicals on it. In that you'll be getting, I think, $50 Don't worry, you cannot use it for your shopping. Only Azure resources can be purchased from that. Okay, but $50 is enough. It's enough amount to perform the basic Azure practicals. It will be valid for 15 days. 15 days. Okay, so within in with what I'm saying, you can utilize that particular pass. You can redeem it today. See, if you don't redeem it, it will be valid for 90 days. If you redeemed it, once redeemed, then it will be available, then it will be active for 15 days. 15. So I hope I have given all the basic answers to all the questions. Do you guys have anything else to ask? Come on, guys. It should be two-way communication. Respond back. Without your response, I'm not gonna proceed further. Not for now. Not problem. Okay, okay. Great, great, great. See, it has to be two-way communication. Then only we will be able to learn something new. Okay. So here we'll be starting. Ratul, yes, the recordings will be given to you. Okay, it will be uploaded in our website. It will be uploaded in YouTube also. So the link will be shared with you guys. You can use it anytime. Cool. So let's start with AZ900 fundamental. Now, first of all, what exactly this AZ900 is? Now, what Microsoft does every time that whenever they releases a certification or a new technology, they will release several certification for one single technology. Like when you talk about Azure. So Azure is having tons of certifications right from the beginning, from the scratch, from the basic level till the advanced level, till the DevOps or developer level as well. AZ900 is one of the basic Microsoft Azure fundamental certification, which just tells you that what exactly Microsoft Azure is, what you can do with Azure. It is just to know this particular platform. We are using the AZ900. You can call it AZ900. You can call it as AZ900. It is up to you what you want to call it. Okay, US people love to call AZ, so we Indians picked that particular tone, and we also started saying the same thing. Okay, it is completely in your hand. So here you have to you have to go through the basics of what Azure is, why cloud is required, what is the purpose of cloud, what if the cloud is not there. Okay, cloud recently came into existence from year 2010. Actually, Microsoft Azure got introduced in year 2010. So from 10 it came into existence, and from that particular time it is getting you can say slowly it is building each and every component, each and everything. Okay, and nowadays all the production environments, almost all the production environments have joined a type of cloud. I'm not saying only Azure. I don't want to be biased over here. It is not only Azure, but the cloud technology, either Azure or AWS or Google Cloud or VMware or Rackspace or so many are there in the market, but they are using some sort of Azure technology, sorry, cloud technology. Okay. Now, what we will be learning over here today is we'll be starting with the basics of what is cloud. Okay, because it is all about cloud only. You will be hearing this term a lot, and if it is not clear, then not even God can save us. Then we'll be looking into the cloud services. What all services are provided by cloud? We'll be looking into something called as IS, PaaS, SaaS, AS, PaaS, SaaS, whatever you want to call it. It is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and many more. These three were the initial triggers, initial services given by the cloud technology. Now, anything you imagine is a service in cloud. Okay. I'm taking a simple example. Firewall. We all know what firewall is. Either you talk about Windows operating system, you talk about Linux operating system. In Linux, also we have firewall. Okay. But firewalls are part of your operating system. So you physically you can see that it might be installed on your laptop or desktop or wherever you're working. But in cloud, there is a service called as firewall as a service. You can actually go and enable that particular firewall. Obviously, it is gonna charge you, but it is available on the go. You don't have to wait for your approvals and tons of things that okay, vendor will give it to you now and then you enable it. No, just click and done. I'll show you that. Don't worry about that. Then we'll be looking into several cloud models. Okay. There are different types of cloud models available. Depending upon your requirement, you have to decide which model you want to use. Basically, there are four models. Out of models, two are very much common. The remaining two, rarely you will be able to use it. Okay, what are those? Later on, we'll practically see that. Then we'll see specifically about the Azure architectural components. We'll be talking about its service and products. We'll be talking about several Azure management tools. We'll be talking about network connectivity. We'll be talking about the core identity service. So imagine if you are running a complete organization or your entire organization wanted to switch to Azure or any other cloud, how they are gonna get authenticated. Right now, you have your own username and password. Okay. You type that, you log into your machine, you log into your system, you log into your environment, and then start working. If everything is gonna be cloud based, how the same thing is gonna happen? Okay. So we'll be talking about that. Then we'll be talking about several security tools and features. Okay. Everything revolves around security. If your environment is not secure, then it is useless to work on that particular environment, to be very frank. Okay, security is everything. Nowadays in production environment, we have multi-factor authentication where when you have to log into your machine, you use username and password, and then you use some sort of OTP based login. Okay, when I was working in one of the old US company, then we used to have that UB key. I am not sure whether you have heard of it or not. It's like a pen drive only. You have to touch on that. It generates a big string characters, and then only it is gonna get authenticated. This is just one way. Other way is if you are having your bank accounts and internet banking, whenever you log into your internet banking websites, you write your username, you write your password, and then you provide an OTP, which will be either sent on your email ID or mobile number. So this is your multi-factor authentication. Like that, there are several security related features available that you can enable in your environment, and then you can simply work with them. Then governance methodologies, what all things are there, reporting tools. Obviously, every time you will not be creating everything in the cloud. Okay, there will be few things which will be already available and then you need to monitor them. Okay, so in that particular condition, you will be using some of the monitoring and reporting tools. Okay, then you have privacy, compliance, and data protection standards in Azure. You have subscription, the most important part of this entire thing. Okay, without subscription, you cannot. Like, for example, let me take a simple example. If you do not purchase Netflix subscription, you'll not be able to watch movies or anything on that. Same thing with Azure. If you do not have an Azure subscription, you will not be able to work with Azure. Simple. It is that simple. Okay. How to get a subscription? That's a complete different story. We will be talking about that. And the Azure Pass, which I was talking in the beginning, it is one of the Azure subscription, which will be given to you. So I told you, without that, you'll not be able to work with it. You can create your own, but again, for that, you will be purchasing your own subscription, which will be valid only for 30 days. You'll be getting one specific amount, 13,300. And in that, you have to do everything. And that is only valid for 1 month. After 1 month, it is going to be paid. Then we'll be talking about planning and managing cost. Cost is the most important thing in any environment. You don't want unnecessarily virtual machines, or you don't want the resources running here and there without any purpose, and you are just paying the bills and all those things. So Azure will also give you the cost management possibilities, like how you can manage your cost. It is having its own advisors that will give you the actual advisory solutions for your entire environment. Then we have support plans available. If you got stuck somewhere, how you can reach out to Microsoft and then they will help you out in resolving the problem. And finally, we'll be ending with the service lifecycle in Azure. So every service that is available or that will be available in future is having a proper life cycle. How it come into existence, how it will be available for the testing mode, or you can say beta mode, and then how it will be finally available to everyone. So there's a complete procedure that is followed every time whenever Microsoft releases a new service. Okay. So there are several services which are still in the preview, means these are in the beta version. Some of the services from 2010 till now, some of the services are completely gone. It's no more available. Okay. So it will be, it's a cycle only. Okay, so services will be available after some time, but they will update you. They will inform you. It's not like one day it is working and another day, next day you come, you log in, and then you'll be like, okay, where it has gone. It's not like that. If Microsoft wants to remove any service, at least 6 months or 1 year time they will take, and then they will only remove that particular service. Immediately they can release a new feature, new service, but immediately they will never ever remove anything. They will remove, but they will take time, possibly 6 months time, possibly more than that. It all depends. Okay, so you'll be getting enough time to migrate from the old architecture to the new one. They will give you enough information, they will give you enough support for that. If in case you want to migrate from the old method or old feature or old service to a newer one, they will help you with that as well. Okay, so it all comes under one single hood that we'll be performing today. I will try to show maximum practicals over here. I'll try to clarify most of your doubts. I'll try my best to give more support on this particular technology. But the most important thing is you have to perform the practicals. Later on, once you will be given the passes, how to redeem the pass, there's a complete guide which I have created. By the end of the session, I will be sharing that guide with you. You blindly follow that guide and you will be able to utilize it without any problem. Okay. Now, next is what is cloud? So before I start introducing what exactly cloud is, I want you guys to write the definition, whatever you like. Okay. I'm not looking for the 100% answer. I want to know what you know about cloud. Okay. So what is cloud? What is cloud computing? I want you guys to drop answers in the chat window quickly. Guys, do it, please. Okay, I'm getting good definitions now. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So people have written, oh, come on. How many tasks? Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. So people have written cloud is a virtual space, servers which we can access via internet, storage present on server hosted on a remote location. Okay, so overall you have the knowledge of what exactly cloud is. Okay, so I will extend the same thing. Cloud technologies, let me give you a technical definition actually. Let's start with that. So there is an institute called National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have given the definition. Cloud computing is a model for enabling blah 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 blah. This is the definition that they have given. This is the definition that they have given. So if you are able to memorize it, please go ahead and do that. Okay. In simple, cloud is something which will basically help you in using some softwares, processing some data, and storing your information, your data over the internet. Okay. So what you are doing, you are storing, you are utilizing someone else machines. When I say machine, I'm talking about servers, I'm talking about storage, I'm talking about networking, everything. Means you are using someone else network environment to store, to process your own data. And for that, you are giving the charge. You're paying for that. You're not utilizing it for free. You are paying for that. Okay. So basically, over the internet, the most important topic, the most important term here is over the internet. Without that, you will not be able to use the public cloud specifically. Okay. But basically, you are using another users or another people's environment where you are simply processing your own code, you are processing your own data, or you are maybe you are storing the information. Okay. Then what exactly is required here to work with the internet, to work with the cloud? Just you need the basic internet connectivity. We need the internet connectivity, updated web browser, and compatible device. Now, when I say compatible device, even if you have your P4 machines, Pentium 4 series and that Pentium series and all, even if you have a simple basic laptop or desktop and you have the updated web browser with the proper internet connectivity, you should be able to use the cloud platform. Someone has written why we need any system must present like that. What do you mean by compatible to that? Okay, okay, you got your answer. So basically here you don't require very heavy duty servers, heavy duty laptops and all. No. My current laptop capacity is 16 GB RAM, 1 terabyte hard disk. Okay. So it's a good laptop, good configuration. Maybe not everyone is having the same configurations. Maybe you are a developer and you need an application which requires 10 GB of RAM and it requires maybe 200 GB of hard disk and you don't have it on your laptop. Maybe for this particular training for one day only, you need this kind of configuration. Will you go to market and buy a new laptop just for one single day? And even if you do that, from next day you will be using it for gamings and all. Simple. One single day we will be spending lakhs and lakhs of money. It's not fruitful. So what we can do in that particular scenario, we can go to any of these cloud vendors. You can purchase, you can create your account, and then you can start utilizing the services offered by these cloud vendors. And the best part here is Okay, for the same scenario which I've taken, you'll say, no, Jitu, we will go to any of the vendor in market and we will take it on rent. That is also a good solution. Yes, it can be done. But imagine, because of some reasons, the training got cancelled. Okay. You took the laptop, you brought it at your home, and the training got cancelled. Now, if you take the same laptop immediately after 10 minutes, you take it back and you say to the vendor, boss, my training got cancelled. Please refund the 100% amount. Is he going to do that? Think of it. Okay. So he's not going to return the amount. He'll say, okay, I'll deduct 20% or 50% or whatsoever percent he wants. He will not return, he will not refund the entire 100% amount. In cloud, the scenario is different. In cloud, you purchase, you created a machine. But if you have not powered it on, it's not gonna charge anything. The training got cancelled, delete it. Your amount consumed will be not even it will not be exceeding more than 2 rupees or 3 rupees more than that because you have not powered it on also. The usage is like that. It is so cheap. That is the reason cloud is booming in the market. Like hosting the web page. Hosting a web page is a different scenario. Okay, if you want to host your own website, you want to host your own web pages, the cloud technologies has given multiple stages to do that. Okay, you can either it can be static website, it can be a dynamic website. You can host any kind of website onto these clouds. I'll try to show you also how exactly this web app works out. I'll show you that. It is very simple. Okay, so we'll be talking about that also. We need space, RAM, processor. Don't worry about that. My cloud will take care of that. I just have to host my website. That's it. That's why I told you I'm not a PPT guy. I'm not gonna waste your entire day in just running the PPTs only. This is just building the basic block for you guys so that you can actually understand when we actually jump into the practicals. I will show you all those things. Why it's named cloud only? That's a good question. Why it's named cloud only? So there's no specific reason why they started calling it as cloud. So like in cloud, you have, if you talk about the natural cloud, okay, it is a part of a procedure only. I don't remember. Sorry, I was very late in that class where where they told the concept of precipitation. But in natural cloud, what happened? Uh, the the water will get evaporated. It gets stored in the cloud in the cloud, and then it rains. So ultimately, your own values, your own data is coming back to you in a different way. So they have taken this kind of concept. It's not some exact term that or exact definition why they started calling it as cloud. Okay. But this is the way how they work with it. Because we can access resources remotely. Yeah, this is also correct. Whatever you have stored, it is coming back to you again. Okay. So as per Wikipedia, here you can see, as per Wikipedia, okay, so I'll take a pen. Cloud computing makes computer system resources, especially storage and computing power. Now, remember one thing. Cloud is not only storage. Someone wrote in the chat also that it is storage, but it is not only storage. People have that misconcept. Okay, you use Gmail, you use Google Drive. Okay, so Google Drive is not only the cloud, it is part of cloud. There are four components basically for any cloud vendor. Okay, we'll talk about that. But storage is part of cloud. Storage is not only the cloud. Remember that. And then the computing power. So when I say computing power, basically I'm talking about the memory, how much RAM it is going to utilize, processing, how it is going to process my entire data. So this entire combination is included as the computing power. Available, this is the main term. Available on demand. You all are working guys. Okay. You all got your laptops from the company. Maybe you will be getting the laptops from your company. Okay. So assume that you got 8 GB laptop. Okay. You got 8 GB laptop. After few months, you tell your manager that boss, I'm unable to work with this 8 GB. Please give me a 32 GB laptop. And you have a requirement also. Okay. From 8, you have now asked for 32 GB. Just a hypothetical situation. Now, in this, what will happen? You will drop an email to your manager. Then manager will talk to you about this, why it is required and all those things. Okay. So we have, assume I'm talking about 256 GB RAM laptop. Now is it okay? Just assume any configuration which is higher than the current one. Okay. So assume you from 8 GB you wanted 32 GB laptop, or you are already using 32, so you want 64 GB laptop. So in that particular situation, you will talk to your manager, you drop an email, then he will talk to you, then he will approve it later on. Then the request goes to the management, then management approves it. After the management, it goes to the vendor. Vendor will say, okay, I don't have the laptops currently available. Give me a week's time. Generally, it happens. Okay, in big organizations and huge organizations, it hardly takes the entire process hardly takes a week. If it is a small scale company, it may be more than that. So imagine if you very badly you need that particular system and it is taking a week time or more than that. It is gonna affect the overall productivity. In cloud, the same thing from 8 GB can be switched or scaled to 32 or 64 or 64 or 256, any number within fraction of seconds. Within, I will show you this. I will create one virtual machine over here, and then later on, I will show you how it can be scaled up. And you can calculate the time also, how much time it has taken. Okay, obviously, if you have initially paid for 8 GB, so you will be paying only for 8 GB in the beginning. Later on, you migrated or you have upgraded to 64. Now you have to pay for 64. That's the obvious thing. But the overall transition time will be not even 30 seconds also. Obviously, if you talk about the production, you have to get the approval to increase the size, but it is only matter of seconds when you actually want to scale up. So it is on demand. Cloud is all about on demand. On demand, you can increase it. Later on, you found out that, okay, 64 is very much like it's very huge for me. I don't need that much. I'm utilizing that much amount. 32 would be fine for me. So you can degrade also. On the go, you can degrade also. So it is completely on demand whether you want to increase or decrease the capacity of your system. Okay. Next is cloud computing. So basically, like scale out scaling. Exactly. Right. Yes. Technically speaking, that is scale out, scale in only. But I don't want to throw all those technical words in the beginning only. Okay, I have got a good question now. Space from space which cloud uses, where is coming from some any physical servers? Yes. In the beginning, I started with you are utilizing someone's else cloud or their environment, and then you are utilizing. So what Microsoft and what AWS and what Google Cloud have done, they have created their data centers globally. Data center is a place where you will be having all your servers and switches and storage and rack networking, everything. It's one single place where you'll be having all the IT related components. And I'm sitting here in this part of India, and then I am remotely utilizing their data center over here. Now, this data center can be available anywhere. Okay, globally, more than in 100 places, these data centers are available. In India, only 3 data centers are there. Okay, so we have a very large number of what do you say uh, data centers available throughout the globe. Now, this doesn't mean I am sitting in India, so I cannot use a resource which is available in US. It is completely possible. Okay, you are sitting in India, that's fine, but your client sits in the United States only. So obviously, you are not gonna create the components or the website or the application near to you. No, cloud always says that always create the resources near to your client, which is near to your client. Okay. So if he's in US, so let me create the resources in US only. If he's in Europe, let me create in that particular region only. So these places can be utilized completely. You can, doesn't matter what is your physical location, you can create it anywhere and everywhere you like it. Okay. Now, these data centers are not some easy accessible locations or not very small locations. These are very giant places, which will be like if I talk about the Microsoft's data centers, they are very huge in size. Okay. They have their own power supply. They have their own security, physical security. They have their own access and everything. Okay, so here basically what happens is you are using someone else location, but it is very, very, very secured. And I'm not sure whether you know it about or not. Microsoft Azure has working like they are working on a new method or new data center technologies, which is completely submerged in water. Let me show you. Let me show you that. Azure underwater data center. Project Natick phase 2. This is what they call it. Project Natick. Project Natick is one of the project of Azure itself. You can see this is the data center. It is having tons of servers and storages inside it, and it is completely submerged in water. Now you'll be saying, Jitu, why they are doing all these things? Right now, I'm using a laptop, 16 GB laptop, which is kept on top of a cooling pad. Because when I actually work on it, it becomes very hot. Even you might have played games or anything, your laptop also becomes quite hot at that time. Imagine the capacity or the processing happening within one single data center. It is actually increasing the carbon dioxide global footprint. It is increasing that. So to reduce it, what they have done, what Microsoft has done, they have taken almost all of their data centers and slowly they are putting all of them underwater. Advantage, they see systems will generate the heat. To cool it down in normal data center, we use ACs. Air conditioning vents will be there, which will make sure that the entire data center remains cool. Here in Project Natick, what is happening? It is using the natural. It is using the natural way of cooling the machines. And using this particular approach, they were able to save 100% amount on the coolings of that particular system. 100% amount. Okay. So someone asked why underwater to keep it cool? Yes. They're using the natural way. Okay. to cool down their machines. They are not using any external. Uh, I think that's risky too. It is risky. Everything is risky nowadays. You're working on your laptop, it is risky. You're working under one fan, it is risky. In IT, you have to take the risk. You take all the billionaires and everyone, they all take risks in the beginning and then later on they succeeded. What you are thinking, even their infrastructure engineers must have think of it. That is the reason it is very safe now. Obviously, the water can enter into the data center. I cannot deny that fact. Because of any reason, water can enter. But cloud is basically something which does not store one single copy of your data. See, in nowadays in IT world, money doesn't matter. Data matters. Okay, it's a big statement what I'm giving now. Money doesn't matter. If you lose money today, you can earn tomorrow. If you lose data today, imagine what is going to happen. Take the live example of your mobile phones. Imagine if you lost your phone and all the data and everything is there in that. If you lose your wallet, that's okay. You can get it back. You can get the duplicates of your RCs and whatnot. But if you lose your mobile today, rest you know what exactly I'm talking. So it is risky. I totally agree with it, but they are taking all the precautions over here so that the infrastructure should not get wet over here. And it was a very good project also. They have taken somewhat around initially in the first phase. This is the second phase right now going on. In the first phase, they have taken somewhere around 800 servers, and none of them got wet or none of them faced that leakage problem. None of them in the beginning only, and that was in phase one. Okay, so Microsoft is also taking care of each and everything. I will share this link in the chat window. Okay, you guys can go through that later on, not now. Okay, you guys can go through that and read about it. Okay, not now, read about it so that you will get to know, okay, how exactly things are going on over here. Okay, now let's come back to the presentation. So here, cloud computing. So here, cloud computing, you can see central data center for providing services. So there will be a centralized location where all the services you can either create or store or utilize in whatever way you want. And you have to pay for whatever you'll be utilizing. The best part of cloud technologies are the best part. You have to, like, there's a saying in cloud, pay as you go. Meaning, if you use it for 1 hour, pay only for 1 hour. You use it for one day, pay only for one day. You use for 30 minutes, pay only for 30 minutes. You're only paying as you go. Someone asked AWS versus Azure, which is good, where we can invest, we decide with various cloud. See, it is the same question. Which one is better, BMW or Audi? Okay. They both are ruling the entire cloud market. AWS ranks on top. Second is the Azure. Why there is a ranking like that? AWS came in year 2006. By looking at them, Microsoft released their cloud in 2010. That is the first thing. Second, you can't compare apples with oranges. Yeah, yeah, that is also right. See, I'm coming to that part. I'm coming to that part. Okay, so here what happens is it is all dependent. See, directly, I cannot say which one is good. Both are ruling the market. Both provides almost same thing. There might be a small difference. Okay. The biggest difference between these two cloud platform is the naming convention they use. In Azure, we simply call it as Azure Storage. The same thing in AWS is called as S3 bucket. Simple storage service, S3. Okay. Second thing, first is the name part. Second, if you want the overall detailed control of your environment, okay, when you want to completely, you will not get 100% of the control on your environment, but most of that. If I compare the percentage, if you want to if you want to compare the two uh, capacities, how much you can control, how much control you have on your environment. So Azure will give you less control in comparison with the AWS. Okay. Next thing, next difference would be what I have felt, because I am Microsoft certified also, and I am AWS guy also. So I work on both the things. So according to me, what I have felt is, if you want to primarily focus on your application, okay, your developer team is there, which is taking care of the entire development portion and everything. So you can simply go for the Azure part. Now you want to make sure that each and everything is going under control. You want to control each and everything in depth. Then in that way, you can simply go for the AWS. Okay. So I have a document for that. Which one is better? Okay. I will be sharing that with you guys. Then I leave it to you. I'm not gonna force that AWS is good or Azure is good. Both are cloud. I work on both of them. So for me, both are good. Okay. But it all depends on your environment, what exactly you want. Based on that, you have to decide which one is gonna be better option for you. Okay. Now, next thing about cloud computing is on-demand, scalable, unlimited computation and storage. So these four factors will basically decide everything in your cloud. On demand. In the last slide, we talked about it. It is on demand. Everything you discuss, sorry, everything you need in cloud, it is on demand. Today you want 8 GB system, okay, you're working on it. Tomorrow you want 16 GB laptop or 16 GB virtual machine, tomorrow you'll be working on that as well. On the single go, it can be done. So it is all on demand. You don't want 16 GB, again you want 4 GB, again you can reduce it back. It is scalable. Because of this, it is completely scalable. You can scale up, scale down at any point of time. Okay. Depending upon the requirement, it is completely scalable. Now, scalable also is done in two different ways. Either it is manual, that means you have to log in and then you have to increase or decrease the size of it. The other one is automatic. Depending upon the load capacity you're facing. Like for example, let me take a simple example of Flipkart or Amazon. Okay, these shopping websites. Generally, they will be having, I'm taking a simple example. Okay, using my another expertise, that is MS Paint. So imagine this is Amazon server. I've given the name A1. This is Amazon server A2. Okay. Now here in this entire environment, these three requests are coming. This is on regular days. Okay. This is on regular days. So traffic will be very less. Then they have their big billion sale and that festival sales and all those things. Big billion sale starts at sharp 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Example only. Okay. It's not starting tomorrow. Actually, I'm not sure about that. So what will happen at that particular time? You will basically have the same infra only. If you work with the same infra, it will crash in the end. This actually happened with, I think, Amazon or Flipkart, maybe. I don't remember. I think in 2010 or 11, they released, they had this big billion sale. And what happened at that particular time, that Sharp 8 o'clock, the sales started, and sharp by 8:20 or 8:30, the entire website got crashed. That was the biggest example how if you don't manage your infrastructure, how it is gonna impact you. So depending upon the requirement, like for example, now I know that it is gonna be a big traffic incoming on these particular days. I can automatically spin up more servers, maybe of same size, maybe of bigger sizes than that. Sorry. So that they can handle more load over here. You can simply do something like this. Okay. So here, generally what will happen, you will be able to manage the entire infrastructure depending upon what kind of requirement you have. Okay. Now, once like for example, the sale was there for 12 hours. After 12 hours, I don't need all those servers. So what I can do, I can start automatically or manually deleting them one by one or all of them at the same time when the traffic goes down. So this is all about your own requirement, how you can manage all those things. Technically speaking, this is called as auto scaling. Automatically, you are scaling up the environment when it is required. When not required, you are just downscaling the entire infrastructure automatically. Okay. Manually, it can be done, but manually you have to sit and then remove. Then you have to decide which is gonna be. Please explain about more cloud backup processes possible. We have not started the backup processes yet. We will be talking about that also. Okay. So this is about the auto scaling part. Okay. And year and a half ago, Google had launched Stadia. Recon it was cloud service to. Okay. So this is on demand and scalable, unlimited computation. Now here, there, if you talk about the physical requirement, there's nothing called as unlimited. But here in production, in these in these cloud infrastructures, they will be having huge buildings where they will be actually focusing on adding more servers and then working with more servers and all. So there it will be basically type of unlimited only. You need 20 servers today, you can spend 20. After 1 hour, you need 20 more, you can do that. After 1 week, you want 40 more, it can be done. So it is a type of unlimited computation only. But here, how many machines you can spin up, it is all dependent on the subscription that you are using. Okay. Subscription is all about that you have to take care when you actually start working on the practical part. Because if you're talking about a free subscription, like we will be giving you 15 days Azure Pass. Now, some of you might have heard of bit mining, okay, Bitcoin mining. So you'll say, okay, we are getting 15 days. Let us spend some machines over there which will do the mining job for us. It's not gonna happen. Okay, Microsoft actually faced these kind of problems a lot. When I started learning Azure in the beginning, you can create account with debit and credit card both. I myself have created more than 20 accounts with one single credit card or debit card. Initially, they used to accept everything. Later, they realized people like G2 are misusing it. Okay, I misuse it. That is the reason I learned so many things about it. Okay. So they later realized, and what they did, only one card can be attached to one account at a time. They changed the policy. Then later on, they were like, okay, we will use only credit cards, not the debit cards. So till now, they are following the same thing only. Now, in that also, being MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer, earlier we used to get unlimited accounts. We can create any number of accounts and we can give it to anyone else. People started misusing that as well. So what Microsoft did now, initially they were like, in every 3 days, after every 3 days, you can create only one account being an MCT. And then recently they have changed it to from 3 days to 7 days. Means if I create one account, for next 7 days, I'll not be able to use that same account again. So like that, they have done some sort of changes because the Microsoft is actually facing the challenges over here just because they want to fulfill this unlimited computation because people start misusing these kind of things in the end. Then talking about the storage part. So storage, as I told you before the slide, whenever you keep one single file, any file, I'm not talking about it should be a backup file only. Even if you take one MP3 file, put it in the cloud storage. In the backend, the cloud service, whatever you're using, the cloud vendor, either AWS or Azure, both does the same thing. They will create overall three replicas of your data. Okay, so three copies will be created in the end. You stored only one, but you're getting three copies in the end. So even if someone told it is very risky, now coming back to the same old project Natic, even if the water gets into the storage, into the underwater data center, no problem. Only one server will be burnt. The other two will be having your data. Okay. Rarely it has happened till now that the data is completely wiped out from all the three places. Actually, it has never happened. Okay. You will face latency. Like when I was working in Microsoft, I think in year 2017. At that time, South Brazil was hit by a massive lightning storm, and it was actually it actually burnt 70% of the hardware for the South Brazil data center. Actually, this happened. You can find it out on internet. Services were delayed. There was a latency. We agreed, but not even one 0.1 KB file was lost. You can imagine 70% of the data center was burnt. I'm talking about Microsoft data center, the actual Microsoft data center. So they have this kind of the capacity. Someone wrote LRS. So LRS is basically local redundant service or local redundant storage. So locally within one data center only, it will be having three copies. Then you have ZRS, zone redundant. Okay. So India is one single zone. So maybe like one copy will be there in Bangalore, another copy will be there in Chennai, another copy will be there in Delhi. So again, if Chennai got hit by a flood again, so the user will be able to get the copy from Bangalore zone or Delhi zone. Then you have geo redundant, GRS. So one copy will be in India, maybe two copies in India, one copy is in United States, thousands of kilometers away. If the entire India got hacked, again, my user will be able to get the data in the end, but there will be some latency added over there because the user is now fetching the information from thousands of kilometers away from there. Okay, so that is your LRS, ZRS, GRS. There are few more RAGRS. Okay, so these redundant replicas and all, this is a part of cloud only. How you are gonna store it, based on that you will be charged. LRS is least, or you can say it is least. It costs very less. Then more than that we have ZRS. Then more than that we have GRS. GRS is very heavily costed. Okay, so always remember that. Just a minute. Okay, sorry. So basically, it is a data center only. Physically speaking, it is a data center which is gonna fulfill all these four requirements. Now, even your organization will be having these kind of qualities, these four characters. Can you call your infrastructure as a cloud? Can you call that? No. Any cloud which fulfills these four capacities, these four characteristics, can call themselves as cloud. Any data center which fulfills all these four requirements. Requirement number one, everything as a service. So anything and everything that you imagine basically is considered as a service. Oh, okay, I got a question. So as we know that these data have copies, so the copies the same data is taking place. So Devendra, Microsoft or AWS, whichever cloud you are using, they offer by default three replicas. They are charging only for one copy that you have stored over there. The remaining two, they are not charging only. That is the beauty. You have 1 terabyte of data. You want to take you want to store it in three different places. On your capacity, you are utilizing 3 terabytes, meaning you are paying for 3 terabyte. But in cloud, you are utilizing 3 terabyte, but you are only paying for 1 terabyte over there. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, so you have to you just have to pay for one single capacity only, one single unit only. That is point number one. Point number two, where you are keeping it. Now, if you keep it in LRS, it is the cheapest one. The other two copies will be available in the same data center only. So it is the cheap one. If you use the ZRS, where exactly we see, I will show you in the practical while creating the Azure storage. So if you have created a storage that supports ZRS, that means you are allowing Microsoft to put your file in two different zones. Okay, Bangalore zone and Delhi zone like that. So their charges will be bit higher. If you create GRS, one data is in India, another data is in US or Europe or anything else, their charges will be much higher. Okay, so that is how it basically works out. So you have to only take care of your single unit and where you're gonna store it. Remaining, everything will be taken care by the compute vendor, the cloud vendor itself. Now, so four characteristics of a cloud. What are those? First is everything is a service. Now, here basically what happens is anything that you imagine can be considered as a service, or if your data center is able to provide that particular service on the go, that can be counted as a cloud environment. On basis of data priority? Yes, on basis of data priority. Just a minute, just a minute. I'm asking in terms of money rather in terms of in terms of space. Devendra, it is all about how you are storing the data. Okay, you just have to focus on putting your single file into the storage. Okay, and then see, when you create a storage account, what happens is they will ask you at that time only what kind of storage, what kind of redundant service you want, LRS, ZRS, GRS, or anything else. Whatever you have selected at that particular time will be taken for the entire storage uh, unit. And whenever you keep a data onto that, that will be copied or replicated in different places. Okay, so for the replication, they are not charging. They are charging only for what you have kept it over there. Now you can reduce it. Like there is 1 TB file, you can compress it and then you can pull it over there. So the overall charges like 1 TB of file reduced to half of the size. So you have to pay for only that half size itself. But again, the data will be copied to three different places. Three is fixed. After three, if you want to create more than that, you want to manually create the replicas of it, that will be chargeable. Okay, so that is the main concern point over there. Okay, is there any default which we can get during sign up a cloud service? Default, what you are asking? I'm not clear with the question here. Is there any default which we get during sign up a cloud service? I said default configuration of compute, storage, and network. See, initially you will be getting a complete blank account. They won't be giving, see, they will offer all the services, but they will not be asking you, you should create only this. They will not be doing that. Let me show you over here. So here you can see this is my Azure account. It is completely empty, but initially even you will be getting something like this. Okay, there won't be anything. Now here on the left hand side, you have something called as storage account. So when you go to storage account, nothing is there over here right now. Okay, you can see here, create a storage account and store up to 500 TB of data in cloud. 500 TB. Okay, so we need to customize for our needs. Yes, exactly. You have to customize everything. What exactly you want, you click on this create button over here, and then you fill all the details over here, what exactly you are looking for. I told you, see, redundancy. When you click on that, you have LRS, GRS, ZRS, and GZRS, Geo Zone Redundant Storage. So at this time only, they will be asking you plus few more tabs you have to fill over here. And then later on, you click on create and then basically it works out. I've not filled the information. That's why it is failed. But we will be working on each and everything over here. So you have to customize each and everything, what exactly you want, and then you proceed further with that. That is the advantage. Okay, if you know initially, you know that your company budget is low. Okay, you don't want to spend much amount on storing the content, just go for LRS. Your manager says no, we have to make sure that my data should be highly available every point of time, then go for geo zone redundant or maybe zone redundant, because you are not talking about money at this time. You want the data. It should be available on the go. No matter even the Microsoft data center burns down completely. You don't care about it. You want your data should be there, but you don't care about the money. That's what you want. Plus, take the premium services. So all these things completely comes to your way, your own path while you're creating all these things. Okay. So you have to decide each and everything. So everything should be provided as a service. Either it should be a backup. Someone asked me, Jitu, can you explain about the backup? So we'll be talking about that. Firewalls. Obviously, every big organization. What if I want it just for a couple of months to be charged till my subscription is on? No, even if the subscription is on, see right now, I have not created anything in this account. My account is MCT account. This is active like for more than 4 years or something like that. Right now, I have not created anything. So I have got my entire amount over here. And if I don't utilize it, it will be there forever for me. Okay. If I create something, then it will start charging actually. So that is the way. Pay as you go. If you are not creating, even if your account is active, if you're not creating anything, it won't be charged. You leave it as it is. Okay. If you like, for example, some of you after this particular training like that, okay, Jitu, we want to work on this particular. So let us create our own account using our own credit card. Yes, you can do that. You can completely do that. Sometimes you might have to create something, you create, work on it, and then once work is done, delete everything. That is the best part. Once you delete everything, nothing will be charged. You need it again. So even like, for example, if you're working on a virtual machine, so in virtual machine, you don't want to delete and create again and again. Just turn it off, shut it down. When you shut down a machine, it will not be charging heavily, but a minimal charge will be there. Like for example, for one day, they will charge you somewhere around 4 to 5 rupees, depending upon how much disk you have utilized. Okay. If a virtual machine is there, definitely there will be some hard disks attached to it. There will at least there will be an operating system disk attached to it. So that space you are utilizing. So because of that, a minimal charge will be there. So I have tried this, like I turned off few machines and still I worked on it. In the end, I had to pay 50 rupees for 1 month. That is bearable charge, I think. 50 rupees and you are not destroying your entire infrastructure. You delete everything, you don't have to pay anything. Okay. But if you pay, if you turn off the machine, then there will be a minimal charge over there. So that you have to take care by yourself. Then someone asked, it is possible to create own cloud? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. I have my own account available over here. I have something called as IAM, Azure Active Directory. IAM is used in AWS. In Azure Active Directory, I can create multiple users over here. You can see there's a user called Anup. He is one of my friend who is using my account sometimes. CLI, I used it for creating some automation tools. Jeetu and Jitendra both are my users only. Like that, I can create n number of users over here and they all can utilize my account then. But, but the overall amount that I have received over here, this 7,300 will be divided in these 4 users. Okay. Either one user can entirely utilize the 7,300 or 1,000, 1,000 like that, they can distribute. But they all will be able to get only this amount itself. Not individually, they will get 7,300, 7,300. It's not like that. You're not getting individual things. What will happen? The same amount can be utilized by any of them. Okay, so that needs to be taken care. But indirectly, yes, you can create and run your own environment in this way. Okay, can we create our own small cloud company in small scale? Yes, it can be done. One more question. My subscription is ended and I haven't paid subscription fee. Will my project be deleted or it will stay? If you have not paid the amount, all the resources that are available will be still available, but in the disabled state. They all will enter into something called as disabled state, which will be only active once your subscription will be active. Okay, so it's not gonna delete automatically by default. Azure and AWS, same concepts or different is there? Actually, they have a different concept. Both have subscription, but in Azure, what happens? Let me show you. In Azure, you will have something called like this MSDN platform subscription. This subscription is given to the MCTs, Microsoft Certified Trainers. Okay, you can see here current cost at 0.00. Okay, so you will get a subscription. On subscription, you will be having some amount and then you use it. In AWS, let me show you. In AWS, you have a subscription concept, but you don't need to Okay, this is the AWS console, and here you do not have anything like that. Okay, that subscription and all, it's not directly available over here like this. So in AWS, what happens is only few things are free. In Azure, for starting 30 days or 15 days, everything is free, or you until you exhaust this entire amount. In AWS, that's not the concept. Like if I take the example of EC2, it is virtual machine. Okay, let me launch an instance. Can you see this? This one, instance type. Can you see T2.micro? And it says free tier eligible. So when I click on it, you can see there are so many tiers available. T3.nano will be having 2 vCPUs and 0.5 GB of RAM, but it is paid. It is paid. You can see here 0.0052 USD per hour. But here T2.micro, it is free. So in every service in AWS, a few components are free of cost. So if you are only working on those free paths, free topics only, even if you run for an entire year, you don't have to pay a single penny. That is the beauty. But here in Azure, after 30 days, you do anything, it is chargeable. So they both have their own pricing concept. Okay. Here in AWS, you have to be very much careful when you are using anything. And here in Azure, if you know it is a testing account, do whatever you like for 30 days and you will be having this amount getting reduced over here. I hope the pricing concept is clear to the person who asked and everyone in the session. Guys, please respond back. I'm glad you guys are asking too many questions. Really. Great, 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 great. So this is the basic concept of Azure subscription. Now, here, okay, someone has written, thanks for the demo. Like that, only I have planned my entire webinar or this workshop to go practically. PPTs are not the things which I invest my time. Okay, that is the reason I've just prepared few things so that you will have a basic concept. Now, everything as a service. I hope this particular topic is clear. Okay, everything that you imagine, network, storage, firewall, computing, uh, backup, load balancer, identity management, everything is considered as a service. And if your environment is able to provide these things, then one part is basically you can call it as your cloud. Someone has written why Azure is not freely available. Uh, Ujjwal. Ujjwal, it was freely available, but I can say that people like me completely exploited all the free things, okay, in Azure, and then Microsoft had a very big loss in these kind of freebies in the beginning. Because of that, they had to change their pricing model. Azure initially was almost free. Believe me, I have been on Azure from I think 2013 or 2014, I think. And till this lockdown started, I have not paid a single penny in my Azure account to learn or to perform all the practicals. You can imagine for straight 4 to 5 years without paying a single penny, I've become Microsoft certified trainer, not even normal trainer, certified trainer. So only because of these disadvantages, only because of these disadvantages, they came up with the uh, pricing model and they have completely changed the entire pricing manner and everything. That is the only reason why it is not free nowadays. Okay, it's not free, I know, but it is very less chargeable also. Believe me. Okay. It is less chargeable. It is very less charged in comparison with the actual costing that you're gonna face over here. Okay. So let me show you why it is less chargeable. So I'm gonna create a virtual machine. I'm not exactly gonna create it, but I'll just show you something. Okay. So just have a look here quickly. I'm gonna give some random name. Okay. Spaces are not allowed. I'm taking a Windows Server machine, Windows Server 2016 data center. Okay. Name I will. Okay. It is not accepting this. Okay, so what size I have given over here? So it is 1 vCPU and 3.5 GB of RAM. If I go beyond this, right now you can see all are disabled because of the location, maybe. Let's say East Asia. Now you can see here 2 vCPUs and 8 GB RAM. So I'll take the name here G2. I'll take the password. Okay, and I'm just going with everything default only. I've just given all basics. See, that 8 GB virtual machine which I have created, overall per hour, it is gonna cost me 9.5 rupees. INR, you can see 9.5100 INR per hour. INR per hour. So nearly 9.5 rupees I have to pay for this particular virtual machine. Okay. Now imagine you don't need this much, or maybe you need to use the Linux operating system. So again, I'll go back over here and I'll just change this to Ubuntu. Let's see what changes we get over here. Size is same. You can see two vCPUs. vCPU means virtual CPUs only. Okay. And 8 GB RAM. Let's see how much we get over here. It will be failed, but let okay, it's not taking. Acha, okay, just a minute. Uh, use existing. Hmm. I'm taking all randoms right now. See, here also it is taking this point, this amount. So even if I change my operating system, the amount goes over here like this. But the moment I reduce the size, let's make it 1 vCPU and 3.5 GB RAM. Okay, let's check that now. See, can you see a drop over here in the price? 8.1. I have almost reduced the physical capacity of my machine, and from 9.5 to 8.1 it reduced. You can imagine how much actually it is charging over here. So here only you can calculate, okay, what exactly the overall size you are gonna use, and then you can proceed further with that. Okay, this is just one basic thing which I have told you. There are few more manipulations that can be done under the disk. Right now the disk is heavy. It is the premium SSD. I can go to the standard hard disk, and if I check it now, okay, the price is still same. So in 8.1, why to use hard disk? Let's use the SSD only. So these kind of plannings can be done in the beginning only. Someone told, does price change if we take a machine for a year, 6 months instead of one day? Not for a year, actually for a year, not for 6 months. There's something called as reservation. There is something called as reservation in Azure or in any cloud method. So there is something called as 1 year reservation. There's something called as 3 years reservation. And then there is something called as 5 years or 7 years reservation. Generally, the commonly uses 1 and 3 years. Okay. So here, when you talk about 1 year reservation, what happens, like for example, initially without reservation, your virtual machine, like the standard size goes like 10 rupees per hour. Okay. Standard, I'm getting 10 rupees per hour like this. I'm taking an example. Okay. If you reserve, if you commit that, if you commit to your cloud that I'm going to use this virtual machine for a year, what Azure or what AWS will do, they will reduce automatically, they will reduce the same capacity for maybe 8 rupees per hour. Like that. You don't have, like, you go to any shop and then you ask for discount. Okay. But here, if you are doing the 1 year commitment, automatically you will get a flat discount over here. Plus, if you are taking a longer reservation, like for 3 years, if you're taking it, so they will reduce it something like 5 rupees per hour. Same configuration. I have not changed the configuration. I'm just committing how long I'm gonna use this machine. Okay. So the same what I was getting over here for 10 rupees, the same configuration now I'm getting for 5 rupees over here. Then for 5 years or 7 years, if you do the commitment, the same you will get for maybe 3.5 rupees per hour. Something like that. So the longer commitment you make, the cheaper it will be on your head. So this is called as reservation. Okay. So this reservation can be done either for 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. Okay. So before you start actually doing all these calculations and all, you have to perform this kind of calculation as well, that whether you want to use it for daily basis or for a longer time you want to go for it. All these things you have to calculate it. Okay. Ujjwal, I did not get your question. Then why user don't switch to free cloud storage? Every, like here below, someone has written that hi Ujjwal, even personal Gmail is not free beyond 15 GB. So that is true point that it is not free after 15 GB. But what do you think? You're using Gmail and it is completely free of cost. Nothing is free in this world, boss. They are taking up your data. They are checking each and every move that you perform on your mobile or your system. When you play games, it will ask you for your gaming profile. You simply allow from the Gmail. Like that, let me show you. Recently, I was working on a website. It's called Mine. I created my account on this Mine, which basically goes to the entire internet and scans how many companies are actually utilizing my data. This is a topic apart from cloud, but my Gmail ID is signed up. Actually, it was for more than that. It was in 380s. 380 companies were utilizing my information. And believe me, one of the company, even I don't know that name also, that company was utilizing my passport information also. Just a minute, guys. Sorry for that. So these companies are actually utilizing my information. Nothing is free. You are selling the entire information on the internet. Okay. It looks like free, but they are utilizing. I don't want to open everything over here because the session is getting recorded. Okay. But you can go to your Gmail account and then find out what all things are utilized over here and there. So that will basically, that is not free of cost. What if we go for 5 year plan lesser than use only for 1 year? That's a good thing. Just Karan. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Just Karan asked that what if we go for 5 year plan for lesser price per hour and use it only for 1 year? Boss, when you do the commitment, when you commit that you are gonna reserve it for 1 year or whatsoever it is, the amount will be blocked on your subscription for that particular thing. Now it doesn't matter you use it for 1 day or 1 month or 1 year. It is gonna charge for 5 years only. Okay. So they have planned all these. Microsoft has already planned all those things. But there are other ways to reduce your amount. See, you don't have to perform these kind of things. This is not ethical when you talk about the production environment. Okay. You don't want to be called like he committed for 5 years and now he's only paying for this. Like if you do the same thing in your credit cards and all, that you have utilized the entire amount and you don't pay for it, you will be called as defaulter. Okay. So you don't want to be called like a defaulter over here. So what you can do is you can use something called as Azure pricing calculator. It is a calculator which calculates whatever you want to use. See, right now, what is happening? Once you create the resource like a virtual machine, and then you use it for 30 days or 10 days or 1 year or 5 years, and then you pay for it. Okay. So even if you don't want it or it was less utilized, still you have to pay for it. What Azure calculator will do, you can just like you can see here, it has compute, network, storage, web, mobile, container, database, analytics, AI, ML, IoT. So many options are available over here. So you can come to this particular calculator and then you can decide what all things you want to use over here. Like for example, I want to utilize virtual machine. Let's click on that. So you can see virtual machine added. Where it got added? In the bottom. Just hold on. And I want to use the storage over here. So storage also added. If I scroll down now, you can see virtual machine. This is the category which provides 2 vCPU and 8 GB RAM, and it is gonna be 730 hours, means for 1 day. Sorry, 1 month. Okay, 730 hours means 1 month, 30 days. Upfront cost is gonna be, you can see here, dollar 0 point so and so. Monthly overall, it is gonna cost me $152. Okay, we are Indians, so let's change the pricing category to INR, which makes more sense and easily understandable. Now you have to pay upfront cost, means initially you don't have to pay anything, but monthly cost is gonna be somewhere around 12,643 rupees. Okay, this is the monthly cost. Now please look here. I'm getting this cost for the default values over here. Now see, I work or my client works in India region only. So why to keep the virtual machine in United States? Let's go down and you can see here Central India, South India and West India. Let's say my client is in Bangalore only. So South India region I have selected. See, the amount is now increased to 14,000. Hold on. Operating system, which OS you want. So I want to go for the Linux operating system. Capacity is same, but by just changing the OS, check this out. From 14 directly drop down to 8,000 rupees. Type, there are so many OS types are there. You can use any of them. Okay. Tier, let's make it basic tier only. Check. If it is basic tier, okay, you can see the amount from 8,000 reduced to 967 monthly. But I want to go for standard. Okay, you can see here 1,000 rupees. Now 1,000 rupees for one VM for 30 hours. Sorry, 30 days. Here I'll make it days. 31 days. Okay. Now, obviously, we are not going to work for the entire 31 days only, holidays and include everything. So I'll calculate, okay, actually working will be 20 days here for me. So now you can check. Now you can check here. Now it reduced down to 715 per month. We do shopping more than that. Okay. And this is not the only case. Believe me. If I scroll down, see, this is pay as you go. If I go for 1 year savings plan, if I, you can see here right now, it is 715 rupees. If I commit that, I'm gonna stick to this virtual machine for 1 year, click on it. Why it's not taking? Okay, it's not compute A0 yearly is not a okay. This for this A0 it is not there. I need to change it to A1. Okay, which is 2000 rupees. That's fine. We are just testing that. I'll click on what happened. A1 is also not there. Let's so I've taken some random configuration that says 16 core and 64 GB means one single virtual machine I will be getting which will be having 16 core and 64 GB RAM. So it is a type of server only now. Okay, it is a big server now. So you can see in 1 year savings plan, you can save up to 21%. So right now it is 37 rupees. Let me copy this. Okay, the standard here is 37,000 rupees. When I go for 1 year plan, you can see it goes to 45. Oh, it increased that. Now see here, it is going for monthly. Okay, it has increased. Let's wait for it. Then let's make it 3 years. Directly drop down to 30 years like this. 30,000. Okay, so this is the savings plan. If I actually go for 1 year reserved, it is 33. And if I go for 3 year reserved, exactly 21,000. So what I was getting in the beginning over here, now it reduced down to 21,000 rupees over here. Sorry. So these kind of configurations you can check over here. Okay. So here basically it will help you out in calculating what exactly you want. I've taken all random data, but you have to think and then plan accordingly. Now here, if I go and check for the managed disk is nothing but the disk. Like in my laptop, you can see this is C drive, D drive, E drive, and F drive. Similarly, these drives will be attached to your virtual machines as a disk. So what is the capacity you want? The capacity I want here 32 GB, 64, 128, and you can see here 32,767 GB, which is somewhere around 1 lakh 8,616 per month. Even these kind of capacities are available. You want to add snapshots. You want to add the snapshot also. Now in snapshot, you want LRS locally available or you want ZRS zone redundant. Based on that, the capacity will increase over here. How much GB of snapshot? So you can see here storage, bandwidth, everything. Everything can be checked from this particular calculator over here, which will basically give you an idea. I'm not saying exactly it is gonna cost this much only, but somewhere around this much amount. So you are just basically following all these procedures over here, and then you are configuring the data. And then based on what your requirement is, then you simply play around with it. Okay, so I will share this pricing calculator link in the chat window. You guys can follow that as well. Why this big price? Okay. Why there's a difference in the why there's a big difference in the operating system sizes? Now let me show you, tell you. Every production environment utilizes or uses the genuine operating system. You will never find any production environment which is using the cracked operating system, cracked Windows version, and then you are working with that. It is against the policies. You have to use the genuine operating system only. Now, when you talk about whoever, just a minute, guys, I got a query on chat. Guys, I will be giving you breaks. Don't worry about that. We all are humans. We all have some needs. Okay. So I planned for actually 11 o'clock. So 15 minutes of tea break will be sufficient, and we can take 45 minutes of or 1 hour of lunch break time, or we can reduce it if you guys agree. It is completely up to you how much you want. You want 2 minutes of break time, you'll get that. You want 20 minutes or more than that, even that can be done. Okay, so I'll just finish up this particular task and then we'll head up for the break. Okay. So I was talking about the pricing part, why there's a difference in the pricing. When you talk about Windows operating system, like this is, I'm using Windows 11 and it is a genuine operating system. Okay. If you purchase Windows 11, obviously what will happen in your laptop, the license price will be added. Okay. So without license, you cannot use any machine in the production environment also, especially the Windows machines. Now, when you talk about Linux operating systems, Linux is open source, means I can go to kernel.org website and actually I can download the Linux kernel from here and I can build up my own operating system. Or I can go to CentOS downloads and I can download the CentOS DVD from here. Similarly, I can go to Ubuntu downloads and I can download the Ubuntu operating system, which is completely free of cost. So whatever is free of cost, because of that, the pricing calculator amount is also getting reduced for you just because you have chosen the operating system as Linux. Linux operating systems are free, almost free, not exactly, not completely free, almost they are free. If the same amount, right now my amount is 21,000, the same amount I select for Windows OS. See, now the license has been added over here. You can see here, license included. Then you'll say, Jitu, what if we are having our own license? Should we throw it away? No. If you have your own license available, like for example, if you are a company which wants to migrate from on-premises to cloud, in that condition, what will happen? You don't need the Microsoft provided license over here. You can bring up your own license when you click on see. Right now it is 25,000. The moment I click on it, see, again it got reduced. Azure hybrid benefit, hybrid benefit. Hybrid means on-premises data is coming to the cloud. So there, what you are doing, you are merging up your own licenses with the actual virtual machines in the cloud. So that will also be a big relief. And actually, if I talk about a normal virtual machine only, it gives me, if you bring your own license, you're creating a virtual machine over here. Let me show you again. It gives a straight away 49%. See here, let me increase the size. Licensing part, you can save up to 49% with a license you already own using Azure hybrid benefits. Would you like to use an existing Windows Server license? If I click on this box, what will happen? I will be getting discount up to 49%. You can imagine 49% of discount, how big it is gonna be. Okay. So all these things you have to plan, and then you need to proceed further. So this is one of the planning stage we do in the beginning before you actually started working on anything. Okay. If your manager says, okay, tell me how much it is gonna cost us if we run 10 VMs with this all configuration. That is gonna cost me 2 lakh rupees, 2,14,442.61 per month for running 10 VMs of this category. If I reduce the category over here, let me go with pay as you go, and I'll reduce the category to uh, let's say 7 GB RAM. It's gonna cost me somewhere around. It is straight pay as you go. Okay, it's not under any reservation. Okay, so I have to pay 93,000 for 10 VMs with this category. Now, if you compare it with the actual on-premises workload or the costing part, it is still much cheaper. Okay, why it is cheaper? In the presentation, you'll get to know that. But this is clear to everyone. The pricing is GST included in the shown price. Okay, GST is not included over here. It is just giving you the overall commitment that, okay, if you commit this much, that you are going to utilize this much, this is going to be the approx charges. That's what I'm saying. It is the approx charges. Okay, like if you see any product or anything, basically you ask for its price. Okay, you see any car, the very first thing you imagine or you ask anyone is how much it is gonna cost. Somewhere between 1 crore, 1.5 crore. So you are getting an estimate in your head. This is just the estimate calculation. It is the estimate. It is not giving you the approx or exact amount only. It is just the estimate that you may get. It can be more than that. It could be less than that as well. Okay. So this is the average part. Okay, cool. So is this clear till this particular point, guys? How to track consumption and utilization. Okay. For tracking consumption and all, you have something called as cost management and billing. Under this, you have cost management. And this cost management will basically show you what and how things are actually going up over here. I'll go to cost analysis and this will show you. How about RI? RI is reserved instances. So for every type of utilization, the report will be generated over here. Here for me, it is showing nothing to display because for more than, you can see here, it is showing the December 1st to December 31st cost. I will take the November invoice. You can see here in November, I have actually invested this much amount, 3,800 rupees. And it is based on each service. Storage cost me 2,500 rupees. In which location I have spent more and which resource group has actually utilized more over here. You can see there was a resource group called, what is a resource group? Ignore it for now. Okay. It's a group. Which group has utilized more? I can simply count it over here. And this is the overall tracking that can be done over here. I can generate alerts if you have the hybrid thing, your reservation part. I don't have it any of them right now, but here you can see under the reservation in cost management, it can be tracked. So Azure gives you overall one single board and you can create your own dashboards also. If I go to dashboard right now, I don't have any specific dashboard over here, but I can create my own dashboards and I can place everything over here. That's the beauty. Any other queries? Okay. So elasticity in nature. Second characteristic is elastic or elasticity in nature. You know what elastic is. Okay. Depending upon the requirement, you can stretch it or release it so it becomes the normal size again. So the cloud resources should be elastic in nature. Depending upon the requirement, I can increase or decrease it. HA means high availability. It should be highly available. So 99.99% of SLA is by default required over here. So basically we call it as 4 times 9. Okay. This HA will be talking again after break, not now. Okay. But overall, my resources should be highly available no matter what happens with a very less downtime and unlimited computation power. So we already spoke about this. Depending upon what size you want, it should be on the go available. So any data center that provides four above 4 characters is a cloud. If your own environment is able to provide all these four, not one of them, all four of them, then you can simply call your data center as a cloud environment. Okay, that is the basic difference over here. HA, I have not explained it as of now, Devendra. After break, I will be showing you a complete chart diagram, which will basically clarifies what this 99 means and what is the importance of more nines in this HA, high availability. If I stretch it right now, it may go up to 11:30 or maybe 12 also. So people badly need a break, basically because of that. I'm just skipping it for now, but I'm not gonna ignore it. We will be talking about that post break. So guys, let's have a break now. It's almost 11:10. We'll be back at 11:30 and then we'll resume the session. Is it fine for everyone? This is just a tea break, 20 minutes time. I think it will be, you guys deserve since morning 9 o'clock you are sitting. So after 2 hours, wow, so many yes and okay and done. People eagerly want to go for break. Please go for it. Okay. And post break, we'll be back at 11:30 and 11:30, 11:30, and then we'll resume the remaining things. Okay. And meanwhile, those who come back quickly, they can drop the questions in the chat window. I'll try to answer all of them or mostly. Okay, so break time, session resumes at 11:30. Okay. Hi guys, I'm back. Everyone came back. Please acknowledge in the chat window. Perfect, perfect. Great. Thank you for the confirmation. Now, so I've got two questions in the chat. One is regarding the elasticity. The another one is regarding the high availability. Let's discuss the two one by one. So when you talk about elastic is a term which we all know from our childhood. Okay. The cloth should be elastic. Okay. Something like that. Elastic naturally, basically it is something which whenever required, you stretch it up, its size increases. When you releases it, its size will decrease. This is the basic concept of elasticity. Now, how it is actually implemented in cloud. So here I'll take a simple example. Here, assume that you need or you're working on one server over here, okay, which is having the configuration. Current configuration is 2 GB RAM and let's say 20 GB of hard disk. Okay. And it will be having one NIC card, NIC. Okay. Basic internet connectivity and all. That's a standard size right now I have. Assume that there is some sort of requirement where I need double the size of what I have right now. When I say double the size, I'm talking about the RAM and the hard disk, or only RAM or only hard disk. Like that, you have to get the clarity. Okay, so what you can do now, my requirement is I need to double the exact size over here. So what exactly we can do in this particular situation? So we have a manual method with the help of which I can simply go and then reduce the enhance the same capacity to 2 GB, from 2 GB to 4 GB RAM, and I can go for 40 GB of hard disk as well. Okay, so as per my requirement, what I did basically, I have increased the capacity of my infrastructure. Now what I need is, again, I need to go back to the old state. My work is done. My configuration is done. And now my manager says, Jitu, once the job is done, please go back to the same old state. So then I can again do the same job over here. So what happened in this entire state, basically from here to here, you have increased your capacity. You have increased the size of your system. But in this entire state, what you did, you have decreased the capacity. So depending upon the requirement, you have increased it. See, it's not mandatory that you have to decrease it again. Okay. It is exactly what we call scalability. Yes, that is what you are doing. You are scaling the entire infrastructure. Okay. So here reducing the size is not required. It's not mandatory. Generally in production, what happens once you have increased the size, you don't have to come back to the older state. Okay. You don't have to do that. Okay. If it is required, then it can be done, but that's not the basic motive in production. So you can increase it like this. If required optionally, then you can decrease it also. So what you're doing here, you are simply performing this is because of the elasticity of my cloud infrastructure. It is completely elastic in nature. The same machine, the same data, it was available over here. It was available here as well. And the same data was available here as well. Same data was here only, and the physical capacity of my machine increased. That's the simple definition of what you called elasticity, or basically you call it as scalability. Okay. The cloud infrastructure is basically scalable in nature. You can increase the size, you can decrease it accordingly. Now here I have done the scaling manually. Then there's something called as auto scaling. Means automatically it is gonna scale up and scale down when it is not required. The example, the Flipkart big billion sale example, which I've given earlier. When at the peak time I needed more servers got added to my fleet. When they are not required, when the traffic is again down, after the big billion sale is over, the unnecessary servers will be removed automatically from the fleet. Okay. This automatic scaling in Azure is basically called as VMSS, meaning virtual machine scale set. In Azure, basically it is called as VM scaling. Okay. If you are talking about the uh, AWS, let me take the same line over here because some people were worried about AWS also. So in AWS, the same method is actually called as auto scaling. It is doing the same thing, but names are changed. Okay. It is just the same thing, only it is automatically increasing and decreasing the number of systems or servers. Based on that, you can simply uh, based on that, you can simply work with whatever server and whatever things you want over here. Okay. Am I clear with this particular approach? This automatic scaling is clear to everyone? Okay, we have question. What is the difference between horizontal scaling and vertical scaling? Okay. And does Azure uses any AI for scaling in VM? No, here AI is not required because you basically, if you go back over here under virtual machines, when you click on create, I was clicking on the first option here, that is this virtual machine scale set. But I have other configurations also available over here. Azure virtual machine with present configuration and so and so. Okay, here it is not there, no problem. I'll click here and then I'll type VMSS. You can see virtual machine scale set. So it is not using some sort of AI. You have to fetch the or feed the data that you want. These many servers should be increased if there is a requirement. The minimum you have to minimum you have to tell, maximum you have to verify. Okay, minimum I want, no matter what is the condition, minimum 2 servers should be there. Then maximum, it shouldn't be like you, because here what will happen if you do not specify the maximum value, it will be keep on adding. When it will be keep on adding the servers, obviously that means it is gonna basically it is gonna what do you say, uh, keep it is gonna keep adding the data or keep adding the cost to your bill. So you don't want unlimited machines in the end. So what you have to do, you have to define what is the maximum. I want maximum 10 VMs. It should not go beyond that. And you have to tell the incremental value also. You want to add one at a time. You want to add 2 machines at a time or whatsoever it is. So that you have to mention everything under the virtual machine scale set configuration. Okay. When you have to increase, you have to pay for that. Yes, you are increasing the capacity. Yes, you have to pay for it. But here the advantage is if there is a spike only for 2 hours, so the number of virtual machines will be added for 2 hours only. So you have to pay for only 2 hours. That means depending upon the criteria, depending upon the requirement, there is a spike for 2 hours, you are only paying for 2 hours more servers. Then again, there is a big drop in the consumption, automatically the servers will be removed and you don't have to pay for that anymore. So it is a valid reason why you should use scaling over here. You're only paying for what exactly you are using. You're not going beyond that. Other question is where it has gone. Vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Okay, it's a good question. Now, here when I talk about the first one, vertical scaling. Okay, vertical scaling is also basically known as scaling up. Vertical scaling, or you can call it as scaling up. So in this, what generally happens, you will have one server. Okay, you will have one server, for example, here it will be 2 GB RAM. Okay, and the same server only. In this situation, the same server will be scaled up to a bigger size. Okay, the same server will be scaled up to a bigger size over here. So the same machine only will be increased up to 4 GB RAM. This is basically the simple example of your vertical scaling. Okay, you are scaling it vertically like this. Then there is another approach over here called horizontal scaling, also known as scaling out, scaling up and scaling out. In this, what will happen? You will have same capacity, but multiple instances will be there like this. See, in both the cases, what is happening? Here also I got 4 GB and here also cumulative I got 4 GB only. But how you are increasing, that is the difference. Okay, so here you are increasing horizontally like this. So this is your horizontal scaling. Okay, so always remember this particular scenario. Okay, this is a debatable question. Which one is better? Okay, because ultimately I am getting what exactly I'm looking for. Okay, I wanted bigger size, so I got that. But here, any application based example on this, please. Okay, so this vertical scaling could be in useful in the scenario where you want to do the manual scaling. Okay, like right now I have configured a virtual machine with 2 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM. And now I feel that, okay, I need more processing or computing power, so I can scale it up manually. It requires a regular reboot. Whenever you scale up or scale down, there will be always a reboot at this particular manual stage, at this vertical scaling. So when you can have a downtime for your machine, then you can simply plan for this particular approach. When you want a live in big billion sale, you don't want that they should display a message, sorry, wait for 10 minutes, our servers are getting rebooted. You can't wait for that. Okay. You want on the go, everything should be scaled up and scaled down. So when you want everything live on the go, then you can go for horizontal scaling. So currently you have minimum two servers running. Later on, you need two more servers. Automatically, it will be added up to the fleet over here. Once their purpose is done, you can simply remove them like this. Automatically, it will be removed. You don't have to do anything. Automatically, it will be removed over here. This is the basic example of what exactly we can do. Is that clear? Horizontal and vertical scaling examples. Great. So this is the elastic or the scaling part. Now talking about the second point over here, that is high availability. Now if you want to understand the concept of high availability, it's the same thing. What you might have seen in your college or school time. Okay. Whenever you went for a class and maybe like this used to happen in our school times, especially in the sports lecture. Sports teacher will not be available because of some reasons and it will be replaced by the maths teacher. So your studies are continuously going on, doesn't matter faculty is there or not. The same example can be implemented in high availability also. I don't care what happens in the backend. I paid, that means I want my services to be up and running every time. That is the concept of high availability. Okay. What is 4 characters? 4 cats in a cloud. 4 cats is this, 4 characteristics. In short, I have written it over there. Let me paste like this. So if any data center is having these 4 characteristics, everything is a cloud, it can provide as a service, it should be elastic in nature, it is having high availability and unlimited computation. If your data center provides these four, that means you can call your data center as a cloud. Okay. So coming back to high availability is something like, let me show diagram over here. So there is a server, sorry, there is a server on which an application is running. Okay. There is one server on which some application like app 1 is running. Okay. Now, what is happening over here? There is a user, okay, who is accessing this particular application. Maybe multiple users are there. Okay. Maybe multiple users are there who are accessing these applications, this application over here. Now here in this entire diagram, the major problem is there's only one single application. And because of any reason, if this application crashes, none of the user will be able to utilize my app. Okay. Imagine if for 5 minutes also WhatsApp stopped working or Instagram stopped working or Tinder or whatsoever is there. They all stop working. Okay. Imagine what is going to happen. So here, what exactly is happening? You have only one single point where everything is dependent on one single VM. If this goes down due to any reason, maybe there's a new developer, freshy guy who joined my infra and he did some sort of automation. Because of that, the connectivity is lost for my machine. Because of any reason, or even if it is a Windows machine and it goes on an upgrade part, it automatically starts upgrading. Then what? After upgrading, we need to basically work on all those things. Or you need to do some maintenance work. Again, you need to stop the app and then. So in that condition, what is going to happen because of any reasons? Now the total impact will be seen on the user side. My user will not be able to deal or work with that application. This is not the example of high availability. High availability will be like, okay, one application goes down, no problem. I have identical another application where I can simply reroute the traffic, reroute the traffic over here like this. There will be a small refresh required maybe, and because of that, it goes to the another application. Again, same condition only, application was down. Basically, it is redirecting my data to the another app or virtual machine. So directly there is no downtime required. There will be a see, I cannot say 100% there won't be any downtime. There's nothing called 100% in IT industry. That is the reason we came up with the idea 90%, 99%. These are two nines. 99.9%, three nines. 99.99%, four nines, 99.999%, five nines, and it goes up to nine nines. You can imagine the type of availability we will be offering over here. So if I go to Google and type high availability Wikipedia, okay, there's a Wikipedia page available. If I scroll down, this is the table which I generally use every time to explain the high availability. This is the best example I have come across. So if your data center provides the 90% of the availability, that means only one nine is there. See, this availability part is not a hidden option that you can hide it from your client and then do whatever you like. When you sign up with any other company, you sign an agreement. We call it as SLA, service level agreement. Okay. In that agreement, you have to write each and everything. I am going to provide the service, how much time I will be taking when I'm giving the service, how much time I will be taking for the maintenance job, how long my application will not be available for me. You have to write all these things directly. So if you mention that you provide 90% of availability, that means you are agreeing that downtime per year will be 36 days. Out of 365 days, your application will not run for 36 days. Either it can be in single shot, or maybe today it's working, after 2 days it's not working. So that will be counted as 1 day. Overall, 36.53 days my application will not be available. Imagine 36 days means more than a month if the application is not running. Imagine the condition. Downtime per quarter, it is gonna be 9.13 days. Downtime per month, it is gonna be this much, and downtime per week, it is gonna be this. And downtime per day, 24 hours, it is gonna be 2 hours. So for 2 hours, if you are having the 90% availability, for 2 hours, your application will not run for each day. Like that, we have 95%, 97, 98, 99. That means two nines are there. Two nines are there. So if you give 99% of the availability, that means now see from 36 days, by just adding one more nine, it reduced to 3 days. And downtime per year from 2 hours, 2.5 hours, it reduced to 15 minutes, approximately 15 minutes. This is the importance of nines in high availability. My application or my data center should give me 99.99. That means four nines are there. Let's check. 99.99. Four nines are there. So downtime per year, it's gonna be 52.60 minutes, not even 1 hour. And downtime per day, it's gonna be 8.64 seconds. From hours, it reduced to 8 seconds. That means not more than 8 seconds per day, there should be a downtime. So you can imagine the type of highly available infrastructure will be there for you. You can imagine the condition of your infra. There will be multiple servers, maybe replica, two replicas, three replicas, so that if anything goes down, immediately the user should be redirected to the another infrastructure. And see the beauty of high availability. Nine nines, 31.56 millisecond for 1 year. Imagine you blink your eyes and there will be a downtime also in the back end. We didn't catch that. 86 microseconds. Here it is milliseconds, here it is microseconds. Okay, so this is the overall sheet which I wanted to explain. I'll share this with you guys in the chat. Go for it later on. You'll get the good idea on how the high availability works out over here. I got a question, how the downtime comes in which circumstances? See, there is no reason why there will be a downtime. Downtime can occur either in a planned way or in an unplanned manner. It could be a planned maintenance. Okay, that means like when I was in my last organization, we used to have this in every 3 months there will be there will be a basic planned maintenance will be there, and especially that will be night time. So that means for India it is daytime. Okay, so that the load will be very less. So that is a planned maintenance. Then one example I have taken, the South Brazil data center was hit by the lightning storm. That is unplanned. You never planned that, okay, in my data center or Microsoft data center, it should strike with all lightning and all. You don't do that. Okay. So that is one way. Another way is you are upgrading an application, and then in that way you upgraded a server, and because of upgradation the BIOS stopped working, and after the reboot the server is not coming up. This is also one of the practical example which we have seen in our production environment. I only did that. We were under the planned maintenance and everything was going smoothly. I ran the script to upgrade the server, and suddenly what happened, the BIOS got crashed and that server was not coming up only. I had to contact the Redmond team so that they can go to the physical location to verify whether the server is active or not. They went there, they verified, okay, the light is not blinking. That means the server is not up. So we contacted HP, and then one of the HP guy came and then he rectified the problem. So there could be any reason why there will be a downtime. You cannot expect anything. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Another one is IG2 one off question. What kind of server is used by channel like Hotstar during? Okay, that's a very good question. See, the question is not what kind of servers they are using. What kind of services they are using, that is the major question. All the companies have the similar type of servers, almost similar type of servers only. Some will be using Tyron servers, some will be using HP Blade servers, some will be using some Dell servers. Okay, so server is not a problem over here. The main thing is that the service that you are using is able to handle the load or not. AWS, okay, let me take a simple example. Have you ever played a game called Pokemon Go on your mobile phone? When it got released, actually, I started walking a lot. You have you have played the game Pokemon Go? Pokemon Go app is basically hosted on AWS platform using the auto scaling functionality. Searching for Pokemon Go. Hey, don't search it right now, okay? Right now you have to work on this cloud part, okay? I'm just taking the example because that is a very famous game where millions of people joined and they were able to play that particular game on the go, and the server never crashed. Reason, the services were able to manage, the services were able to handle the particular load, the incoming traffic. So it is all about the service that you are using, not the server that you are implementing. Obviously server plays an important role. Okay, but more than that, the service plays an important role. Your service is much capable or not. Okay, what is the difference between HA and load balance? Wow, guys, before I answer that question, I must say I've got a very good audience today. Believe me, I thought yesterday I was like, oh, again I have to just uh, blabber few topics and I will be winding up. But believe me, I'm really enjoying this session now. Thank you so much. So coming back to the question, what is the difference between high availability and load balance? So let me go back to my diagram, and here is only the answer is hidden. Right now, I have two servers available. Let me reduce this back. So here only I have two servers available. So I told you that this is gonna be the scenario of high availability. Okay, one server goes down, the other one will play the job or do the job. So let me put it in this, or let me take a simple example. Who will realize that the server is down? Who is gonna realize that? Who will? I told you that it is gonna migrate the traffic to the another server. Who will do that? Manually, an administrator is sitting there and then assigning the uh, traffic? No. This all is actually managed by something called as load balancer. There's a component called as load balancer. The name, it will be something like this. And load balancer will sit here in front of these two machines where it will be connected over here like this. So load balancer is connected to my instances, either 2 or 20 doesn't matter. And these people will be having a public URL which will hit this load balancer. Load balancer will check that which exactly server is active. Now you can have different policies over here. It could be round robin. That means one traffic goes here, another traffic goes here. Say third traffic goes here, fourth goes here, like that. Or it could be weighted. Means 50% load should go to this server, 50% should go over here, or maybe 70-30 load you can decide over here. And there are so many other protocols that you can use. But here the load balancer is the component which basically decides which server is active using something called as health probe. Load balancer will keep on checking for all the servers after a dedicated time, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Ideal is 5 minutes. After every 5 minutes, my load balancer will send a request to the instance. It will be simply a high request. If I get the response back from the server, that means server is active. If it sends the request and I do not receive the request 5 consecutive times. 5 times I'll say hi, no response. First time. Second time hi, no response. Third time. After fifth consecutive time, this server will be declared as inactive server. And load balancer will now automatically take all the traffic to one single server only. Meanwhile, you can work on maintenance of this particular server and then you can deal with it. So you have to, this load balancer is not exactly available for you. You have to create and then attach the instance in the backend. And then this scenario works out. Now, one thing that we were talking about, okay, this high availability and load balancer is clear to everyone. Okay, cool. Now here, this is the manual job that you have to do. That's a manual job. Okay, where the automation comes over here. In Azure specifically, we have virtual machines. Okay, assume that this is the virtual machines available. Okay, I have this virtual machine one available over here. Okay, now if you want to set up everything manually, what we have learned just now can be done, no problem. But automatically also, you can do something like this. What you can do here in the automatic phase is there is something called as availability set. What you can do, you can take your virtual machine and put it under availability set like this. Now in this availability set, what happens is it's a virtual container. Availability set or AS is nothing but a virtual container. The job of this availability set is to provide the fault tolerance. I'm using very heavy words now. Fault tolerance to your user. Okay. It is a similar concept only what we have learned right now. So user will be accessing this machine, which is available under availability set. Okay. And whatever is happening over here, the same will be replicated immediately to this particular instance automatically by Azure. We don't have to manually do that. We can't even access that right now. We can't even access it. So here this relation is like master and slave, or you can say primary and secondary. Because of some reasons, the master server or the primary server fails, but it was under availability set. So availability set would automatically get to know that, okay, my primaries failed. What it will do, it will redirect the user to this particular server. And now this becomes your primary and this automatically becomes your secondary server. Then later on, once it has failed, then you can have the access and then you can play around with that. But the user will not be having any challenges in working on this particular setup. The only problem is when you implement any virtual machine under availability set, little bit cost increases automatically. Because now you are putting extra load on Azure so that it can monitor your virtual machines and then it can simply interchange the data. Does this process impact the performance? This switching takes milliseconds. So it is not gonna give the 100% impact, but yeah, there will be small impact on your accessibility. Okay, so that's why I told you there's nothing 100% in anything. There will be a small issue every time. But again, the major part is user is connected to the instance, even if one instance went down. In this example, it doesn't help in load balancing. Okay, this guys, seriously, very good. So in this example, what can be done if you want to introduce the load balancing part, what you can do over here, let me remove this. Ah. So here, if you want to actually make sure that there is no impact, no matter what is the cost, in that case, what can be done over here is I can take this example, make a replica of it, and introduce it in front of the load balancer now. So user will be having the access over here, and this is how it will be connected. But right now, what will happen now? There will be 100%, not 100%. Again, there will be a very good performance. If anything goes wrong, my load balancer will get to know, and then it will simply stop sending the traffic and it will transfer all the traffic over here. So again, this is a very highly scalable, highly available infrastructure. But now what happened is you have added the cost of first load balancer. Load balancer cost is added. Second, availability set cost is added. So you have given few more cost related things over here, but the performance will be much higher than anything else we have seen earlier. Okay, so it is all about cost. The more you can invest, more you will be able to utilize it in a better way. Is that clear now? Can you explain a simpler way? Okay. Help in load balancing as it was. Okay. See here what is happening. That's the reason I'm trying to explain. That's the thing I'm trying to explain. Here, generally what happens is when you talk about the availability set, see, assume that earlier without availability set, your virtual machine was costing 5 rupees per hour. But now you have added this to the availability set. So here the costing will be somewhere around 8 rupees per hour. It is not going to be exactly double, but almost near to the double. Okay, it is gonna be somewhat around 8 rupees. So here also you will be paying 8 rupees. So ultimately what happened, where you had to pay only 5 rupees for a virtual machine, now overall you are paying 16 rupees. Okay, plus the load balancer charges. So somewhere around, I'm taking a rough example, like it is gonna cost 4 rupees. So here it is, just to round up my data, it becomes 20. So what happened? The actual cost has increased to 4 times to get the best performance over here. Okay, so that is the reason whenever you are implementing anything in any cloud platform, you have to first decide. The job role of a solutions architect is to decide what is gonna be the best in terms of infrastructure and costing part, both. You have to decide these things. Okay, so when it is decided all these things, then you implement it, and then obviously when you were paying here 5 rupees and here you're paying the 20 rupees, the cost should be justifiable. Okay, so this is what you have to understand, and then you can simply work with this highly available solution. There are a few more things I can add up over here, but this is just the basic thing in terms of high availability. Availability set is for backup. No, it is not a backup. Backup is something which you add for a certain time. Like for example, you take the backup on daily basis for a production environment. In that condition, what happens is you have a data of 24 hours or maybe 10 hours, maybe 12 hours, and then you spend some time in taking the backup. So meanwhile, the backup is going on, still the data may be getting added over there. So it is not actually taking the live backup of the data. Here, what is happening? Here it is replicating the same concept, whatever same data to this virtual machine over here. It's replicating. So what you have added one file, the same file will be added here. You have added one more file, the same file will be immediately added over here. That is just the mirrored copy of your virtual machine. Okay, so you don't have to do anything. You have just paid for it and that's it. It's like you're using Google Drive, 15 GB is utilized. You purchase 5 more GB and you are dropping the data. How they are storing, where they are storing. Do you really care? No, they are doing the job in the backend. Okay, you are just paying for it. Same thing is here. You have implemented the availability set and now it is dropping the data immediately as fast it can. This is availability set. Then there is also one more term called availability zone. Availability zone is availability set created in different location plus different location. So one availability set, for example, will be created in Delhi. The other one I have created in Bangalore. Okay. So basically what is happening now, I am using two different regions to do that so that my entire infrastructure should be very highly scalable. What if the entire Delhi server goes down because of heavy pollution or water or smog or whatsoever it is? I'm just taking a random example. Maybe entire data center goes down. Then what? So the user will be automatically redirected to the Bangalore zone. And from there, everything will be working over here. Now there are so many things added up in the backend, how the inter-regional data is getting transmitted, how which category you are using, how you have connected, whether it is VPN, it is direct connect, or whatsoever you're using. Tons of things will be added over here. But in AZ900, let's not talk about all those things. Otherwise, only load balancer I can stretch till the end. It is so vast. Okay. So basically, simply you have to understand in this particular manner. Okay. Can you please explain FD and UD in availability set? Let's not go over there for now. Okay. There are few things that I want to skip. Reason it will become quite complicated in the beginning itself. Few people might be understanding very good, but for few, it should not become something, some nightmare. Definitely, I will be explaining that properly. Okay. And then in that case, I will be giving the notes also. Whatever terms, whatever things I'm using, I will be giving notes. These all are my own notes, and you'll get all the information in a very simpler manner. You don't have to read the entire page on internet. What it does, how exactly it works, I will be sharing those details with you. Can we take backup in two different zones? Let's say one. If okay, hold on. If we already have backup, then what is the use of AS? See, backup, again, I'm saying backup you take at a particular interval. Okay. For example, your working timing is 9 to 5. Okay. You worked from 9 to 6, for example. In production, it happens. 9 to 5 doesn't mean that you can log out exactly at 5:01 only. You work till 6 o'clock, but you scheduled the backup till 5 o'clock only. And after that, after 5 o'clock, whatever you have done, everything is crashed. Then in that way, how you're gonna retrieve your data? So there will be a loss at that particular moment. In availability set, immediately it is a backup, you can say, on the go. Immediate backup is going on. An immediate backup cannot be configured directly either in your production or in your cloud as well. It cannot be like you are working and parallelly the backup is also going on. You can try that. You will be putting too much load on your backup servers, ultimately leading it to a crash. Your backup servers will not be able to handle that kind of live data. That is the reason we take a certain time, a certain point, and then we start the backup. And while the backup is going on, you can't do anything else. Generally, that is the statement. In availability set, backup is happening only for your VM on the go. So even if something went wrong, then also you will be able to utilize the, or you can simply switch the virtual machine from this becomes your, firstly this will be your secondary, this will be your primary. Later on you can change it to secondary and this can be your primary. So your availability set, immediately it will change the category from primary to secondary on the go. So this is much simpler. And then for your doubts, after that also you can take the backup of your Azure virtual machines. You can schedule a date or time. You can write it. You want daily backup, weekly backup, monthly backup, and then you can schedule a backup also. Even in case something major went wrong, then you can completely restore the virtual machine from the backup as well. Is that clear now? Let me take backups into different zones. You can see backup is not completely a zone related thing. Wherever when you initialize a backup for your virtual machine, it will show you it is in a specific location, but these backups are highly secured on the Azure Center side. So your backups also may crash, at least in these many years of my cloud computing trainings and production experience, I have never come across this kind of statement that even the backup crashed. Yes, on premises, it may be the scenario because there will be a physical location where you'll be storing the disks physically. That might be the possibility, but here it's not gonna be like that. Cool. So now I hope the elasticity and high availability is clear to everyone. Please give a quick yes or no in the chat. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Next. So what you have to manage for on premises? This is a major question generally arises when you are trying to move. You have your own on premises means within your own campus, you'll be having your own data center. And now your management says that we are planning to move to the cloud. Before you move to the cloud, what exactly you have to manage, think in that way. You have to manage your own power supply. You have to make sure that to run the data center, the power supply should be available no matter what happens. Actually, two redundant lines should be there. Two different lines should be there. Because of some reason, one goes down, the other one should be available. Or maybe one main line, the other one will be the backup generator line. So you need to take care of that. Second, networking devices. So when you are running your own production house, you need routers, switches, and all those things. And obviously that should be the genuine one. It shouldn't be like you took some computer parts, assembled it, and your router is ready. No. And these networking devices actually cost a lot. A small networking, a small firewall itself, which is not even bigger than my computer laptop screen. In that size, I'm talking about the width of that firewall. It was more than 16 lakhs, 1 sec. It was a Cisco firewall. I don't remember the exact model, but I remember the price. I can't forget that price. 16 lakh is a big amount. So you have to manage that also. Plus the licenses on it. Then storage devices. Which storage you want? You want HP, you want Dell. In that also you want hard disk, you want SSD. You need to declare all those things and then you need to purchase them. Server racks, space. When you are having these big giant machines, obviously you need space for them. They won't be floating in air, correct? So you need space for that. You have to make sure that you have a proper space for each and every server and storage and everything. Plus the air conditioning for all those servers. When playing one single game on your laptop can heat up that, can produce that kind of heat. Imagine the data center heat that will be produced. You can imagine that. So you have to make sure that it is in a cooler state every time. Scalable option. You know that now next month that Valentine's week is coming, so you are running some sort of website that sells chocolates and flowers and so many things. So you know that in that particular week you will be having more requirement. The traffic will be more. You know that very well. So again, you need to buy special servers for them, but it is only for a week. After that, what? You have purchased the hardware. It's not gonna be like once the 1 week thing is done and then later on you ask your vendor boss, take it back, we are done with it. No vendor is gonna do that. So you have to take care of your servers in that particular condition. Administrators. So now when you have invested so much of cost, you also have to make sure that whoever is managing should be a certified guy. You don't want any newcomer to basically start playing around with your network cables and storage and servers and all. You want some sort of certified person should be managing your infra. So you'll be having your Windows server administrator. You'll be having Linux server administrator. You'll be having your network administrators. Obviously, their salary you have to pay. Like that, there are so many things that you can actually consider. So specifically, when you talk about the migration part from on-premises to the cloud, there is something called as Azure TCO calculator, total cost of ownership. So here, basically, what is happening is total cost of ownership is basically a tool which will allow you to understand what you are paying as of now for your infra, and after moving to the cloud, how much you have to pay. It shouldn't be like you are paying, just an example, you're paying 5 lakh rupees, including whatever I have written in this. I'm just taking a simple example. You're paying 5 lakh rupees. After going to the cloud, you are paying 10 lakh rupees. Is it worth it? Obviously, no. You don't want to pay double or maybe more than that. So this you will realize once you have actually spent 1 month or 1 year with that particular infra. So better than that, what you can do, you can use this something called as Azure TCO, total cost of ownership, which will basically help you in analyzing the report, whether you are on the positive side or the negative side of the billing part I'm talking. So here you can see define your workload. Servers you can define, enter the detail of your on-premises server infra. After adding workload, select the workload type and the remaining details. So I'll go for add workload one. It should be Windows server, Linux server, or web app server. It is a physical server or it is a virtual machine. Let's go for physical as of now. Environment is gonna be, let's say, Linux. If you want to go for Windows, even that is possible. In Windows Server, we have operating system license fee added, data center or standard. How many servers are there? What is the processor per server added? Core per processor, RAM optimized by GPU, all those things. If you're running any old server, even you can mark that as well. Okay, so I'll go for simplicity. For simplicity, I'll go for Linux. I have maybe 5 Linux servers. Per server, I have maybe 4 cores, 4 processors. Here I have maybe 8 cores. I'm going for all maximum. RAM is gonna be, let's say 312. Okay, optimized by CPU. Let's only discuss that much. Okay, so this is my, assume that this is my actual on-premises workload. Then if I have database, obviously I will be having storage. So storage, either what kind of storage you are using. It's blob, NAS or SAN. So generally SAN is used. It is hard disk or SSD. For faster, we go for SSDs. Capacity, it is in terabytes. So assume that I'm using 5 terabyte of capacity. Backup, I should be having more. So I'm going for 10 terabyte of backup. Archive is, let's say 0. IOPS is gonna be like 5,000. IOPS is input output per second. How frequently your application can read write something in and out from a server. Then networking. What is the overall networking? So I'm assuming it will be 10 GB. Okay. Region, let's say India South Central. Okay. So I have written some random data, but here actually you have to write your own on-premises data. So you should be knowing all these things first. Next. Okay. It just assumption. Okay. It should be in Indian rupees so that it will be much easier for me. You can put all those things now. You want GRS, you want the virtual machine costing, electricity cost, how much you are paying, 11 kilowatt, 11.05 kilowatt per hour. In some cities, it will be 12 or maybe more than that. Storage cost, you can write here, IT labor cost. Basically, this is your administrator salary. Okay. Per hour basis or whatever you want, how you want to differentiate that. Hardware cost, software, electricity, virtualization, data center, networking, everything you have to mention it to get the 100% accurate report. Okay. Next, you can see here over the 5 years of time, if you use the same thing over the 5 years, you can save this much cost. This blue line is your on premises and this green line is your Microsoft cost. You can see here. So initially you won't find much difference over here, but you can see across the time you will have more and more savings. You can see total on premises versus Azure cost over time. So it is a time consumption process, but surely you will get the benefit out of it. You can see here, I'm having the proper costing. You can see, okay, so this is on premises cost. 74% you are giving the compute charges, 11% for the data center. Here you are paying 71% for the compute, but 0% for data center. Networking, you are gonna pay for 11% and here networking is 0. Here storage is 1% and here storage is 20. So you can see even IT labor here it is more. But overall, it is giving you this much total cost. You can see here. So you can simply break down this entire scenario and then you can simply play around with each and everything, understanding how things are going on over here. Save it, share it, download it. It is all up to you how you want to deal with it. Okay, I'll share this also with you guys. So you can go through that. Server is what? A storage device or a network device or both. Server is the box which will be used in the computing part, like how you have your CPU cabinet. Okay, if you talk about a desktop, our CPU cabinet will be having processor, RAM, hard disk, everything. But when you talk about the production servers, let me show you HP servers like this, like this. It will be something like this, which is only and only responsible for the computing part. Means here we will be talking about RAMs and what do you say, uh, processing. Plus, they will be having their own internal storage, but not in TVs and more than that. If you want, then you can go for something like Dell storage. These are the specific storages like this one you can see here. These are the hard drives you have to connect and then you need to work with it like this. So when I say server, basically I'm talking about all the three components, assuming they are in one single place only. Okay. So when you talk about the on premises, these are the pointers that you have to take care at every point of time within the on premises. Okay. So that is the reason why you should plan for the cloud rather than still working on the on premises. Okay. I know several people who are running their companies and they don't even have a single room also, because everything is going online. You can run an entire someone asked this question in the morning. Somebody asked it, can I run a small organization? Yes, people are doing that. We are only talking about servers and virtual machines and all. Even if you have your own, for example, online e-commerce website, for that you need to just buy a domain, www.g2sync.in, something like that. Okay, so you have to buy a domain. If you don't want to go for any third-party domain, no problem. Azure itself will give you that. You don't even have to bother about it. Azure itself will give you the authentic, genuine domain name, because Microsoft Azure is tied up with GoDaddy. So actually, when you buy a domain over here, you are buying it from the GoDaddy as well. Amazon have AWS. Yes, this is purely the Azure track, so I want to stick to Azure only, but I'll try to give more examples here. Okay, so here if you are running your own e-commerce website, in that you don't need an entire data center, boss. You just need a server that will process the data. You need a storage which will or database that will store all the the products and the user information and everything. So everything can be done directly onto the cloud. And not even that, you want to host your own static website. Like for example, people do that generally, that they want to have their own website, but they don't want to pay anything. Initially, everyone is having some sort of financial problems. So you don't want to pay anything, but still you want the thing to be available on internet. Even that is possible in Azure. You can host your own static website. You don't even have to buy a domain also. Thus, the name will be quite complicated, but I'll show you what exactly I'm talking. Practically, I'll show you that. Let me first reach to that particular point. Okay, but yes, all these things are possible over here. Okay, so I hope everything is clear till this particular point. Whatever we have discussed. How easy or difficult to cross cloud connections? It is easy and difficult also, both. To create a cross cloud connection, nobody wants, or Amazon doesn't want you to buy anything from Flipkart and the vice versa. Same thing, Azure does not want you to go to AWS, or AWS doesn't want you to go to Azure. But if there are ways that you have to do it, because they cannot force you that no, you have to work only on Azure. If they have this kind of rigidity, people won't work on Azure anymore. So they came up with the idea, okay, if you have any resources available outside this cloud vendor, so they have some limited things, not unlimited, limited things to follow. But yes, it is possible. If I have some virtual machines running on AWS, already running on AWS, and my client is running on Azure. So how this is gonna establish, or how will you migrate it over here? So there are few steps that you have to follow, but somewhat yes, it is possible. Okay, not 100%, but yeah, they have opened up most of the platforms where you can migrate, and you can simply call these machines and all those things to your own infrastructure. Okay, from Azure, you can call the data from any other vendor or vice versa also. Azure DB to Snowflake. Okay, yes, that can be considered. If Flipkart don't want to share data of customer credit card debit. Nobody shares the data, especially the card debit or credit card information. Nobody shares that, no matter what happens. It is against the policies, especially the RBI policies nowadays. Next is virtualization. So now, earlier I had no idea that I'm gonna get such a good crowd which already know so many things about it. So I've added these slides over here. So let's have a quick review that what exactly these things are, and then we'll move on to the next part. So what is virtualization, guys, according to you? What is virtualization? Come on, guys, answer it in the chat window. Okay. Okay. So somewhat you got the idea. Okay. Virtualization, if you break it down, virtual. What is virtual? It's there, but it is not there. Okay. And the entire IT or the cloud is actually dependent on this term only. Virtualization. It is there. I am able to use it. I can create any virtual machine or anything over here. But actually, it is not in my system right now. It's not in my machine where I can simply do all those things. So it is virtual. It's there, but it is not there. Simple explanation about Metaverse Avenger. Come on, guys. Okay. Yes, you can call that also as a virtualization. Okay. But here, when you talk in terms of IT, basically you are dealing with the environment which you can create on the go using a web browser, but actually it is not there in front of you. Okay, so it all started in the beginning in early 90s, where like earlier we used to, if any administrator wants to, if any administrator wants to have multiple uh, machines, like I'm a guy who works with Windows and Linux both. Okay, I deal with Windows training and Linux trainings both of them. But on the same laptop, how it is going to happen? So if I talk about early 90s, I will be using two different laptops. One will be having uh, Windows installed in it. The other will be having Linux installed in it. Then technology changed. On the same laptop, you might have worked on something called as dual boot machines. Okay. When you power it on, it will ask you whether you want. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. VMware is still very far. Okay. Initially, we started with individual machines. Then later on, we got the dual boot capacity where we were able to launch one machine at a time. So if I have to take Linux training, I will reboot my machine, switch to the Linux environment and deal with it. If I want to take the Windows training, I'll restart my machine and then switch to Windows and deal with it. Then later on, there were several virtualization tools introduced. You can say the hypervisor tools got introduced, which will basically allow you to manage multiple operating systems at the same time. And with this only, the actual cloud thing started. Okay, so yes, to boot Windows to Linux in same machine, share our data. Yes, that is completely correct. So when I directly talk about the hypervisor, so basically it is a tool, okay, which will allow you to run multiple operating systems on the same heavy duty server. If you're thinking what exactly it is, let me just draw a simple diagram quickly. So here in the bottom, we will be having the heavy duty hardware. Now, when I say heavy duty hardware, that means it will be having uh, hardware. So it will be having bigger RAM. It will be having much more big processor. There will be bigger capacity to store the data. So I'm just calling it as heavy duty server. On top of that, what I will do, I will install the operating system. Okay. I'm going to install the operating system over here. And then on top of this operating system, I'm gonna install one more layer called as hypervisor tool layer. And then on top of this hypervisor tool, what will happen? I will have my virtual machines like this. Maybe of same capacity, maybe more than that. It all depends. But I can have simply n number of, when I say n number, that means up to the capacity of my server, not more than that. Okay. So I can install, this is my one VM, this is second VM, third VM, this is my nth VM. Okay, so this is possible. The one operating system is already running over here, and I can install more operating systems over here. This is happening due to the hypervisor tool. Now, basically, hypervisors are of two types, type 1 and type 2, and this is the basic example between the two. If you look at this hypervisor, type 1 hypervisor, you can see you have the hardware over here. On top of that, directly you have the hypervisor installed. So type 1 are basically called as type 1 hypervisors are basically called as bare metal hypervisors. Why bare metal? Because it is directly getting installed on top of your bare metal, your naked hardware only. Naked hardware means there is no operating system on top of it. But Jitu, we have learned this since beginning that we need an operating system to interact with the hardware. So what these type 1 hypervisors do, they themselves act as an operating system for these particular hardwares. Okay. So this entire hypervisor is a tool which allow you to run your virtual machines and also act as as an operating system that basically deals with the directly hardware. Now, this is the type 1. Then we have the type 2 hypervisor. You can see the type 2 hypervisor. Type 2 is basically the hardware. On top of the hardware, you will be having your operating system. Let it be Windows, let it be Linux, anything. But there will be an operating system. And then on top of that, you install your hypervisor tool and then you simply deal with the virtual machines. Now you tell me which type, either type 1 or type 2 is gonna be the production level solution for me, which is gonna be the best one for me. Type 1, exactly. No, it's not type 2. For production, we basically go for type 1. Why? Try to understand that. The reason why production uses type 1 hypervisor, they can use type 2 also. I'm not denying they can use it. But why they prefer type 1? Because here the performance is much higher than the type 2. How it is much higher? Let me explain in this way. In type 1, the app wants some information of, for example, printer. Okay. What it will do, it will communicate with the operating system, its own operating system. This own OS will talk to the hypervisor. This hypervisor will talk to the hardware, and then it communicates with your printer. Okay. Here, what is happening? Here we have one less layer. It is gonna be the same thing. App talk to OS, OS talk to hypervisor, but here hypervisor will talk to the operating system itself, and then OS will direct the instructions to the hardware. This makes the entire communication bit slow. Like not exactly completely slow, but in terms of performance, yes, it is gonna be the condition. So that is the reason only why production houses uses the type 1 hypervisor on the priority. I'm not denying they cannot use type 2, they can, but if you need much higher speed, better performance, then you have to go for the type 1. Also, type 1 hypervisors are generally used for the production, whereas type 2 is used in the regular home laptops and desktops. I can show you the example over here. Okay, I have VMware workstation installed on my laptop right now. So this is my Windows 11 machine. Plus, you can see in the back end, this is the Linux machine on which I was working in one of the batch. I have freezed it. I don't work on it right now, but you can see there's something available over here related to Linux. So on one single laptop only, I'm able to deal with two different operating systems. This is the advantage of using type 1 and type 2. Type 1, I have to install my application directly on top of my laptop, my hardware. So I need to remove the current operating system and then only it is going to work out. So for home usage, type 1 is not the feasible one. Type 2 is okay. Just for your simplicity, type 1 examples I will write here and then we'll move on to some of the questions. Type 1 hypervisors examples. It is VMware ESXi. Then it is Zen servers. Then it is Microsoft. What is that? Hyper V. There are a few more, but these are the commonly known type 1 hypervisors. Then we have type 2 hypervisors. Okay, we have VMware Workstation. We have Microsoft Hyper V. We have Linux KVM. We have Oracle Virtual Box and many more. Point to be noticed that Microsoft Hyper-V is the only hypervisor which comes under both the categories, type 1 and type 2. Linux has its own hypervisor called KVM, kernel-based virtual machine. Oracle VirtualBox is free type 2 hypervisor, which is available for free of cost. VMware Workstation requires a license, which I'm using right now is the cracked version because there's not the production laptop. So I don't have to worry about that. But yes, these things can be used directly. Either you can purchase them and then use it, or some of them are freely available. Even you can use that too. Moving towards some of the questions in the chat window, but you can't extend the limit of hardware. Yes, that is the reality. When you talk about the type 1 or type 2, basically, in type 1, what we do in production houses, you have one server available, you add one more, two more, three more. Okay. So here you can club all of them together and then you get a big pool. And in this pool, you can run your virtual machines. This is what VMware does actually. You can add multiple hosts and then it will create a logical pool. And in the pool itself, you can directly put all the virtual machines so that all the all the hardware can be utilized optimally up to the mark. On your personal hardware, you have to increase. Like right now, if I'm using 16 GB RAM, I have to remove that and then, or I have to add one more 16 GB because my maximum capacity is up to 32 only. If you have more than that, then you remove this and then add 32 GB over here. So here capacity is very limited. That is the reason you will not be able to end up with n number. N doesn't mean thousands over here. Maybe 4, 5, depending upon how many you can run. Plus, what is the current configuration? If I'm using 16 GB, 2 is given here, 2 is given here, 2 is given here. 6 GB is utilized, 2 GB is utilized by my base operating system. So how much is remaining over here? 8 GB, somewhat 8 GB. So that 8 GB now can be separate, completely given at this particular number of VMs over here. So that you have to decide how many VMs you want to run. In reality, you have 8 GB RAM. In virtual, you can go only max up to it. That is correct. What is your physical capacity? You can maximum go up to that only, not beyond that. But one thing, in type 1 hypervisor, this overcommitment, this the example what you are telling, it is actually the overcommitment. My maximum capacity is 8 GB. Can I overcommit to 9? Physically speaking, no. But there are some hypervisor tools basically that gives you the or that allow you the ability to overcommit the resources. So it is not the promising method, but yes, in a way it can be done. And for a little bit part only, it cannot be like you have 8 GB and now you are expecting the 64 GB, so overcommitment will work. No, obviously no. Instead of 8, 8.5 up to 9, these things can be optimized. Okay. Pause of type 2 is cost of voice over. That's correct. How speed? It is any type in cloud. It is any type of things like VMware which connected to cloud to use any limit. No, there's no limit for that. Limit is only the physical capacity over here. And in production, actually, the limit is the cost, means the license. You can purchase n number of ESXi servers, but if you don't attach the license, it is useless. VMware will not work on it only. So even if you have purchased the server, but you have not attached the license to it, it is useless. It's just like you purchased a bike, but without the tires. Is it of any use? No. Same thing. So license is also important. That is the reason production houses talks too much about cost saving. Okay, because these licenses are not like 10 rupees or 1000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. It goes in lakhs or more than that. So you have to think. Okay, so it is almost 1 o'clock. Guys, should we take a break now? Lunch break? No response. Come on, respond back. Should we take a lunch break now? Guys, am I audible? Please acknowledge. Okay, okay, okay. I don't know how the entire chat got missed out. Okay, I think there was a network drop from my end. Okay, guys, let's have a break now. And okay, okay, I think there's a network drop from my end. Sorry for this. Let's have a break and we'll be back at 2 p.m. Okay, and then we'll resume the remaining workshop. Make sense? Okay, understood, understood. So many 2 p.m.s you are writing. I understood, guys. Okay. Okay, let's be back at 2 p.m. and then we'll resume the remaining slides and directly we'll jump on to the practicals as well. Okay, thank you everyone. And please join the same link at 2 p.m. I'm disconnecting the call right now. Yeah, Mohammed Hamid, you can drop a question in the chat window. He left. Okay, fine. We'll be back at 2 p.m. Thank you, everyone.